Lin Mo, what's going on? You explain it to me. But before Lin Mo could speak, the female ghost in red on the side heard the sound, immediately rolled up his sleeves and shouted at the old man. You try to murder my family officials again. And Lin Mo saw this, hurriedly grabbed the hand of the female ghost in red. Misunderstanding. They were friends I met in the graveyard. Thought you were bullying me to help cheer me on. That's when it happened. The female ghost in red suddenly slammed into Lin Mo's face. Said with an ambiguous and gentle face, I haven't seen an official for a long time. Lin Mo saw this. Immediately casually said, I still have business to do. You go back first. The female ghost in red heard this. I didn't continue to pester. Instead, he turned around and said with a slight grievance, officials do great things. I don't bother you. If something happens to the official, we will spare no effort to help you. This farce is over. And the female ghost in red has just walked on the front foot. The back foot house wind came behind Lin Mo. Lung said in a stunned voice, Why are you still stunned? Keep training. Suddenly, there was a majestic ghostly aura. It quickly floated out of the body of the house wind. The shield ghost carrying the shield has not yet landed. The next moment, the shield ghost landed at the moment. Raise the shield in your hand sharply. Slammed into Lin Mo's position. And after Lin Mo dodged, I couldn't help but be annoyed. The difficulty has increased again. That's when it happened. The shield ghost suddenly swept a heavy punch towards Lin Mo. Suddenly, Lin Mo smashed this punch and flew a distance of several meters. So he used his hands to protect Suzuki on his chest. I couldn't help but secretly complain in my heart about this old man. It is a personal vendetta in the communique. Then I continued to train, and he was already able to deal with two of them a little. Now faced the three ghosts, flying again without stopping, until 12 o'clock in the morning. The training was over. Zhai Feng looked at Lin Mo, who was as tired as a dog. Only then did he turn around with satisfaction. Kodao did pretty well today. Tomorrow we will continue to do so. Mu Wanqing and Ran saw Zhai Feng leave. That's when I came over, and Ran couldn't help but wipe Lin Mo's wound with a distressed face. At the same time, he just died. Wipe the mud off your face. But Lin Mo suddenly asked how it was. I'm good today. Mu Wanqing praised without concealing it. Give you a thumbs up. You are the one I have ever seen except for the elder brother. The fastest understanding. And as soon as Lin Mo heard that there were people who were better than him, I can't help but wonder if senior brother Dao should also be very strong. Mu Wanqing immediately showed a proud look. He explained, of course, violently. Now it's the 6 nations. No, it's already a wanted criminal in 7 countries. Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help but turn dark. I was dumbfounded. Wanted in 7 nations. What about the other brothers and sisters? Mu Wanqing saw that Lin Mo was so curious. Began to introduce a group of senior brothers and sisters. The elder brother is a wanted criminal in the 7 kingdoms. The second senior brother is the biggest pirate in Dongyang. The third senior sister is the leader of the northern anti-sect. 4. Senior sister is pretending to be the city lord in the ghost cave. 5th senior brother and 6th senior brother. He is the biggest smuggling leader in Zhou and Yunnan. The 7th senior sister is the most powerful warlord leader in the northern kingdom. The 8th senior brother is the #1 killer of the cold style. The more Lin Mo listened, the more frightened he became. It's already a cold sweat in my head. He immediately waved his hand again and stopped. I kind of get it. In short, there is no good stubble. And Mu Wanqing looked at Lin Mo's reaction. I couldn't help but laugh. Although they are against the master, but it's still kind to us. Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help but scratch my head. Grin, haha. I'm afraid it's not kindness. Then Mu Wanqing patted Lin Mo on the shoulder. The status of the deep smile so. There are only 2 apprentices next to the master. We have to be obedient. Strive to be a good apprentice. Lin Mo immediately nodded again and again. It must have been at this moment. And Ran on the side suddenly asked with a jealous face, "Don't you want to explain? Which female ghost is what's going on?" Lin Mo couldn't help but cough dryly when he heard this. Then Shan Shan smiled and said with a smile that the female ghost you said. That's a long story short. The female ghost is in order to protect her husband. He actually wants to fight with the 8 ghost kings. And Lin Mo hurriedly explained randomly. Persuaded her to go back. After training, Mu Wan said cleanly, Lin Mo's progress, already comparable, the performance of the elder brother, who is wanted by the 7 kingdoms. But at this moment, and Rand suddenly asked, "What the hell is the female ghost in red?" Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help but cough in embarrassment. Then he began to explain a little weakly. It was that night. I fainted inexplicably in the old house of the deserted tomb. When you get up, the female ghost is around. And then it just stuck with me. After saying that, she couldn't help but murmur in her heart. Didn't say a word of falsehood. What happens after fainting? I really don't remember exactly. And Enron obviously felt a little strange. She looked at the woods. I can't help but wonder if the Tao is that simple. Lin Mu immediately replied firmly. It's that simple. And yet at this moment, Mu Wanqing suddenly slammed into Enrant's back. And then look at the lively expression. Say when you wake up, what is the situation? Lin Mu heard this. Immediately, his face turned dark. Then they got up. He couldn't help but complain secretly in his heart. If you say it, you really don't have to die. And then Rand saw Lin Mo stumbling. I can't say why I came for a long time. Immediately asked with a serious face, hurry up. Immediately, Lin Mo's expression became serious. Pose as if you were going to win a grand prize. And then there was a lot of nonsense. Open is a small essay of 1,000 words. And Imran and Mu Wanqing listened for a long time. I can't help but be dazzled. I don't know what Lin Mo is talking nonsense at all. Immediately after that, Lin Mo turned around and quickened his pace. Walk downstairs to your dorm. Colleagues waved goodbye. In short, that's the way it is. Good night to Ran. Good night, senior sister. After Lin Mo left, and Ran couldn't help but be a little confused. He seems to have said a lot just now. Listening to him is like listening to a talk. Mu Wanqing heard this. I couldn't help but laugh and laugh. We were caught up in him and the mud. Said a whole bunch of nonsense. Lin Mo just said nonsense. Listen to the tone of his voice. It seems to make a lot of sense. But think about it. Not a single useful word. And Ran, who came back to his senses, immediately shouted Lin Mo. You perfunctory me. Lin Maoensheng hurriedly quickened his pace. Run to the dormitory. At the same time, he waved his hand and said safely, You're still recovering. So be sure to remember to eat breakfast on an empty stomach tomorrow. If you don't have an empty stomach, you're not eating breakfast. And Rant's words were immediately circled by Lin Mo. He couldn't help but complain about eating breakfast on an empty stomach. What the hell? And Mu Wanqing looked at Lin Mo's back. I can't help but say that the little junior brother is really a talent. The future is absolutely promising. And Rand shook his head angrily and said, Is it talented? I think it's weird. Soon Lin Mo returned to the dormitory building. He had just walked into the dormitory. Hey Xiaopeng suddenly got up and said, Brother Mo, you're finally back. And Lin Mo couldn't help but be speechless when he saw this. Why didn't he sleep yet? What to do in the middle of the night? When He Xiaopeng heard this, he just giggled. Even in the darkness, a row of teeth is exposed. Immediately afterwards, He Xiaopeng picked up his phone. Then his eyes lit up and reminded Brother Mo. You promised to give me the video. Teacher series. There are also 7 strong men. And the secret of a weak little woman. Story 13 episodes. Suzuki almost vomited blood when he heard this. He didn't. Thinking of He Xiaopeng, he had been thinking about this all the time. So I couldn't sleep at all. Immediately, He opened his mouth and said that he was in a groove. That's all you have to offer. Send it to you now. Then send all the resources to the black chubby. Suzuki then picked up the towel. Turning around, I want to take a shower first. You take your time to appreciate. And the black chubby smirked and smirked without raising his head too much. Hey, teachers. I came later. Black chubby tapped lightly with his trembling hand. Unzip the teacher series folder. What catches your eye is folders. Without exception, it is full of instructional videos for various subjects. Black chubby is desperately pulling down. Suddenly, the whole person was stunned in place. This was completely different from what he had imagined. Immediately, a system prompt sounded in Lin Mo's mind. Congratulations to the host for earning 500 points for breaking defense. Lin Mo, who was taking a bath, suddenly became excited. He couldn't help but laugh at the 500. That's too much, isn't it? I didn't give it wrong. This is indeed a collection of teachers. At this time, the black chubby brow walked away. I couldn't help but shake my head again and again, muttering no. It's all of that. What are those 7 strong men and weak little women? He quickly clicked on the other. 7 strong men. And the secret story of a weak little woman. What caught my eye was the figure of the gourd baby. Black chubby couldn't hold back any longer. Immediately, it collapsed. A burst of angry wails erupted from Lin Mo. Your uncle suddenly. The system will sound a message to congratulate the host. Earn 500 points for breaking defense. This wail immediately led Achio, who was originally asleep. Woke up suddenly. He subconsciously picked up the razor. Sharply said, "What's wrong? Is there a ghost attack?" And the black chubby lay on his stomach and kept wailing. Lin Mo, you lied to me. Achio looked at He Xiaopeng's mobile phone. I can't help but be a little speechless and watch a video. I don't think I'm so excited. Lin Mo, who was taking a bath, was slashing. After 1,000 points. I can't help but secretly rejoice that the plan passed perfectly. Men, in order to get the teacher series of their hearts. I waited until midnight. But when I got it, I found that it was a bunch of instructional videos. And 7 strong men. And the secret story of a weak little woman. It's actually 13 episodes of Gourd Babies. Suddenly, Lin Mo was on the black little fatty. Earn 1,000 points for breaking defense. Early the next morning, after distributing the harvest of the ghost jade, Lin Mo couldn't wait to come to the rooftop with the ghost bead. Start leveling up Chainsaw Ghost. After a wave of consumption, the ghostly energy on the Chainsaw Ghost kept gushing out. All the muscles in the body writhed, becomes more expansive. The original height of 2 meters is also a lot taller at this time. All at once from the primary fear spirit. Raised to the beginner evil spirit level. Evil spirits belong to the 3rd ghost class. It's the 3rd skill that can be activated. The underlying attributes are also growing rapidly. HP and attack power have doubled. After completing the upgrade, the Chainsaw Ghost suddenly let out a congratulatory sound. Suddenly, the glass of the windows on the floor was shaking. Immediately, a student scolds from the floor. You're noisy at noon. When Little Quack saw a tall one on the rooftop, when the muscles are like a chainsaw ghost in a cage, his face suddenly turned pale. Lin Mo hurriedly apologized and said sorry. I didn't control it just now. Xiao Quack immediately laughed when he heard the sound, and it was okay. You continue to get out of the way. After saying that, he hurriedly slipped away. After seeing that no one was bothering, Lin Mo patted the chainsaw ghost on the shoulder with satisfaction. Let's move on. Activated your 3 skills. After deducting 1,000 points, a system prompt sounded immediately. Exchange for Chainsaw Ghost 3 skills. Successfully obtain the passive skill Violence Solution. The first level of the solution to violence. When using a chainsaw to attack an enemy continuously, causes the opponent's armor to be continuously reduced. 3% reduction per second. Suitable for attacking ghosts with extremely high armor. The aura cost is 0. Ability cooldown is zeros. After activating the skill, the ghostly aura on the chainsaw ghost, immediately it began to surge. Stronger again. Armor breaking is for Lin Mo now. It can be described as a charcoal in the snow. Immediately after that, the system prompt sounded again. Chainsaw Ghost loyalty increased by 9%. Chainsaw Ghost loyalty reaches 99%. Loyalty will not decrease. It has become a perpetual contract ghost. It's just because the Chainsaw Ghost follows Lin Mo these days. Meat has always been indispensable, and it's all raw meat. This treatment, it's much stronger than when Chainsaw was a wild ghost. Plus this big boost. It's no surprise that Chainsaw is more loyal. Look at the Chainsaw Ghost. Lin Mo couldn't help but murmur secretly in his heart. If you encounter a ghost with high armor and magic resistance, there is also a way to deal with it. It is no longer unkillable like before. This makes up for the shortcomings of the attack. Then Lin Mo didn't delay any longer. Directly retract the Chainsaw Ghost into its body. Immediately afterwards, Lin Mo took out a handful of ghost beads again, then summoned the ghost sword. Next, he plans to strengthen the ghost sword, and the ghost sword absorbs faster than the Chainsaw Ghost. Those ghost beads that were originally full of ghostly energy, soon it is sucked and loses its luster. It became a dry waste bead. Hold on for a moment. The ghost aura emitted by the ghost sword was mixed with sword aura, blooming blue in the sun. Meantime, the sword ghost has also successfully upgraded to the level of a junior evil spirit. At the same time as the upgrade is completed, Lin Mo's arms changed again. The flesh under the epidermis of his arms was also faintly bursting. It's terrifying. He looked at his arm. I couldn't help muttering secretly. The higher the level of the ghost sword, the arms will also become more terrifying and hideous. I don't know how long it will take for my arms to turn back into skeletons. Then Lin Mo waved the ghost sword to feel it. Let's take a look at the evolutionary differences. Then he came back again. 1,000 points to activate the 3 skills of the ghost sword. Immediately, the system sounded a prompt. The exchange of the 3 skills of Sword Ghost was successful. Gain skills for a sword journey. 1 sword journey level 1. The sword wielder left a ghost in his place. At the same time, the body soared out with the sword. Gain double movement speed. Reduces damage taken during this period by 95%. Lasts 30 seconds. After the skill ends, the main body will return to the ghost again. The distance between the ghost and the main body should not exceed 50 meters. The aura cost is 300. Ability cooldown is 600 seconds. After Lin Mo finished reading the introduction, I can't help but have some eyes on the road. This skill is suitable for sneak attacks and assassinations. Lin Mo looked at the ghost sword in his hand. I couldn't help but think about it secretly. However, the consumption of aura is a bit too much. The cooldown time is also long. Can be used up to once in a single battle. It looks like this trick will become one of my bottom-of-the-box skills. Then Lin Mo turned around and walked towards the dormitory. It's just because he doesn't have many ghost beads left now. It's not too late to upgrade other ghosts when you're rich. Soon the sun was setting. Lin Mo came to the training ground again as promised. Start today's training. And Jai Fong, after seeing Lin Mo, suddenly he stretched out his hand and pointed at him. Open your mouth and say the truth. Your time of death may be near. Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help but turn dark. Point at yourself and press it. Master, what are you talking about? And Jai Fong began to explain slowly. What's new? An armistice has been agreed in the north. It won't be long. The security service will be taken over by the military. After speaking, Jai Fong suddenly turned his head to look at Lin Mo with a serious face. Opening, their reconnaissance is definitely not muddy. Your identity will soon be revealed. But Lin Mo didn't say anything when he heard this. Just nodded silently. It's not good in my heart. My situation will definitely be reported by Gao Longchen. The crisis went further. At this time, Zhai Feng suddenly threw the mosquito coil in his hand on the ground. Stomp on both feet hard. Then he looked at Lin Mo with a worried expression. Let's not say you could be an enemy of the military. At least you have to have the ability to save your life. Lin Mo saw that the situation was getting more and more serious. Immediately and firmly said to the master, let's start training. Directly on the 4 ghosts. You don't have to be so the level. It's all according to the level of evil spirits. The house style Wenyin couldn't help but show a look of approval. 4 ghosts. Ambition is immediate. The house wind dripped, and the training began. Suddenly, a majestic ghost aura rushed out. The 4 contract ghosts were quickly removed from his arm. They are ghosts, maids, ghosts, judges, ghosts. And ghosts. And Lin Mo didn't dare to delay. Hurriedly began to summon his own contract ghost. In the blink of an eye, Lin Mo's 4 ghosts were summoned. For on 4, and Lin Mo didn't back down. Send it to hell with you. Follow the contract ghost, and start charging. As soon as the old man met, it actually means that Lin Mo's death is coming. Just because an armistice has been agreed in the north. The security service will be taken over by the military. And the military's reconnaissance methods will definitely not drag the mud and water. Lin Mo's identity will soon be investigated. Lin Mo saw that the situation was getting more and more serious. Immediately summoned the ghost girl who had just finished upgrading. Start today's training. There were a total of 8 ghosts in the audience. Immediately all began to fight. Chainsaw Ghost took the lead against his old rival. After leveling up the evil spirit, Chainsaw is already able to stand up to the ghost judge on his own. And in the face of the surprise attack of the maid ghost, the big murderer raises his hand to control the sound of the piano, trying to stop him. And Ghost Wuxing and Ghost Wadan, he fought with the blunt ghost. The shield ghost, who was only good at defense, was suppressed for a while. Can only defend with a shield. With yesterday's training, today, Lin Mo's offense and defense have changed. Get organized. For a while, he would be able to resist Zhai Feng's attack. Looking at Lin Mo's performance, Zhai Feng couldn't help but nodded. In my heart, I secretly praised the orderly advance and retreat. The transition between offense and defense is also gradually free. Not bad, but compared to the cooperation of the troops, it's still a little worse. As soon as the words fell, Lin Mo found out. I have now fallen into it. Demons and ghost inquisitors are within range. It's been cleverly pinched left and right. Lin Mo saw this. Suddenly, his pupils shrank. The left and right sides are blocked. Retreating backwards is certainly useless as well. Lin Mo immediately gritted his teeth. Quickly rush in the direction of the blunt ghost, intended to force a breakthrough of the flank. Zhai Feng immediately found out. Lin Mo's move. It's already within the range of the ghost's attack. Immediately, he secretly said in his heart, since you were so reckless, then don't blame the old man for being polite. He immediately let out a low snort. The soul sword is shot down. 1 second, a ghost-stained sword burst out of the air, piercing the air, make a high-pitched sound, shot at Lin Mo at an extremely fast speed. Just when the soul sword was about to pierce him, Lin Mo used skills decisively. A sword journey. In an instant, a ghost shadow was left in place. Immediately after that, Lin Mo was under the bonus of double speed. Move quickly under your feet. Bypass the soul sword from the side. In the next second, Lin Mo suddenly swung the ghost sword from the side. Slashed towards the soul sword. Although the strength of the soul sword is too great. A ghost sword that can evolve to the level of an evil spirit. Or easily cut it into 2 pieces. Narrow wind sword-shaped. I couldn't help but be slightly stunned. Originally, he thought that Lin Mo would not be able to dodge at all. If the sword hits Lin Mo, will die on the spot. So he's ready. Let the shield demon help block the blow. But the current situation really surprised him. He couldn't help but secretly suppress this kid in his heart. Less than half a month. The 3 skills of the Ghost Sword are all activated. This guy has the talent to activate skills. I'm afraid he has surpassed his senior brother. And Lin Mo didn't hesitate much after landing. While the journey still lasts, he ran quickly towards the house. Take advantage of a journey that brings double movement speed bonus. Capturing the thief and capturing the king first is the king. The next moment, Lin Mo had already rushed towards the house wind. His lineage jerked open. The blood spell skill activates instantly. Immediately, there was a sound in the venue. Lin Mo was windy at this time. Blatzing fast. It's almost a black shadow. In the blink of an eye, I came to the house wind. However, just a second before the blood curse kicks in, Otaku reacted violently. The wrist quickly let out a bloody ghost. Smooth and sudden. A translucent ghost body covered in blood mist. Summon out. Immediately after that, the moment when the blood ghost was staring. He stretched out his hands violently and wrapped his body around the house wind. And then in an instant, he teleported to a place more than 10 meters away with the house wind. And the blood ghost did not forget to mock the robbery. Old man, you're careless. And Lin Mo saw Jai Feng teleport away. Evades the range of the blood curse. The pursuit stopped. He couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. In his heart, he secretly said that he was worthy of being the king of the 8 ghosts. Sure enough, it's not that easy to deal with. However, he forced out one of Jai Feng's ghosts. It's a small achievement. And yet at this moment, suddenly, the shield ghost fell from the sky. The tiger-headed black shield in his hand. It fell heavily on top of Lin Mo's head. That's exactly what his skills are. But Lin Mo didn't panic at all when he saw this. Just put the ghost sword in front of his chest. Then he shouted and collected the journey with the sword. He decisively ended the effect of a sword journey ahead of schedule. The next moment, the tiger-headed black shield in the hand of the shield ghost fell to the ground with a bang. But it was smashed. Lin Mo and Ghost Sword at the moment when they ended their skills. Together, they returned to the original ghost position. And yet at this moment, 3 swishing voices suddenly sounded. Lin Mo just fell to the place where the ghost shadow. 3 soul swords shot straight from behind him. Lin Mo could see at a glance that the house style was premeditated, but he also guarded against it. Chainsaw landed in front of him almost instantaneously. 2.5 meters tall. The chainsaw blocked 3 soul swords with a single round. After defusing the crisis, the ghost sword on Lin Mo's wrist quickly reached a meter. Then he said firmly that the training was not over yet. Go ahead and finish talking. And he again manipulated the demons to slew them. And the blood ghost stood beside Jai Feng. Suddenly, he said that the blunt ghost and the judge ghost just now. It's a flaw he deliberately sells. Such, he can easily break through with a single sword. Old man, you were calculated by him. And Jai Feng looked at the battle area from afar. I can't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Who knows? He was able to activate the Sword Ghost 3 skill in one night. I also mastered a lot of archer cooperation. This wave really almost hit him. The man encountered a cold arrow released by his master. But he calmly used his new skills to go on a sword journey. With a double speed bonus, forced Jai Feng to summon a blood ghost to dodge. The blood ghost saw Jai Feng deflated. Suddenly, there was a roar. And Jai Feng didn't expect it. Lin Mo was able to do it overnight. Activate the 3 skills of the Sword Ghost. The blood ghost heard this. He nodded. Leisurely Tao wants to talk about the contract online. He doesn't lose to you. It's about the talent that activates skills. He doesn't lose to your big apprentice. It's cruel to talk about the chest. I won't lose to your 8 apprentices. After saying that, the blood ghost looked at the venue again. Lin Mo, who ran fast. On the depth of the city. He did not lose to the 7 apprentices. He is cunning. and he will not lose to your second apprentice. At last, the blood ghost happily patted Zhai Feng's shoulder, meaningfully laughed, and said to the old man, "You got a good apprentice again." Zhai Feng heard this. "I can't help but the corners of my mouth. Is it a good apprentice who doesn't have a good qidao? You don't have a connotation for me." At this time, Lin Mo took his 4 ghosts, and Zhai Feng's 4 ghosts fought fiercely. And Zhai Feng manipulated the contract ghost on the one hand. Said indifferently, "Although you are right, but he's still very tender. I still need to practice again." And the blood ghost watched Lin Mo's operation and cooperation. Although there has been a scale, but compared with Zhai Feng, who has been fighting all year round, it's still a lot weaker. Immediately, the blood ghost with itchy hands flew out of the house wind. He loomed in the blood mist that he emanated. At the same time, his loud shouts were heard. "I'm going to join the fun too." And Lin Mo was shocked when he heard this. Immediately, I found out that I had one more enemy, and he's stretched thin now. Not only did the chainsaw ghost and the Oni warrior take a heavy hit, even he himself was forced to retreat again and again. It can only be entangled with ghost swords and blood pupils. And the blood ghost saw this. Immediately said out loud, "Boy, do you want to increase the intensity? Let me train you." And Suzuki Fumian, who has already killed the red-eyed, immediately shouted at the blood ghost about this strength. "It's nothing at all." Hurry up and press the blood ghost to see Lin Mo so arrogant. He immediately shouted and stiffened. Immediately his ghost body trembled violently. Then he rushed towards Lin Mo with a rapid speed, kicked him straight away. Immediately after that, the blood ghost began to work at a breakneck speed. It began to spin. He was covered in a looming mist of blood. Instantly, it turned into countless blood-colored blades. This is exactly his skill phantom dance. With the spin of the blood ghost, the blood-colored blade was blessed with majestic devil may cry. Shoot out immediately. Immediately, there was an endless sound of breaking the sky, and the targets of countless blood-colored blades. It was Lin Mo who was kicked in midair. The next moment, countless blood-colored blades, like a storm blowing on Lin Mo. He couldn't help but be secretly shocked in his heart. The blood ghost just happened to cut the skin. It seems that the house wind is still staying with me. Otherwise, I'll be able to see the bones this time. After the duration of the phantom dance skill ends, Lin Mo's entire body was blasted out. After crossing a graceful arc, it's going to hit the ground hard. And the great evil ghost saw this. Hurriedly flew to answer. Just when Lin Mo was about to hit the ground with a bang, the great demon flew violently, used his own ghost body to buffer Lin Mo. Otherwise, this alone would have cost him half his life. And Lin Mo gritted his teeth. Get up again. Say goodbye. He couldn't help but say in his heart, I'm not skilled enough at manipulation. The gap needs to be reduced as soon as possible. Time flies. And midnight came again for training. It's a good thing to be trained. Don't treat people as human beings. When cattle are trained, under such high-intensity training, Lin Mo is for offensive and defensive coordination, as well as organizing an offensive and attacking the ocean. Catch each other's flaws, breaking through the line of defense, and so on are making rapid progress. At this time, he was finally tired and lay down directly on the grave bag to rest. And Zhai Feng sat on the other side of the grave bag, suddenly praised that he had done a good job today. Lin Mo heard this, immediately got up excitedly. Ask Master Dao, can I fight a private now? Zhai Feng couldn't help but tilt his head. Looked at Lin Mo. He smiled and said yes. After beating 3 or 5 privates, you won't have a problem. And Lin Mo saw that the mosquito coil in Zhai Feng's hand was constant. Hurriedly persuaded the master. You're getting older. Smoke less. And the house-style Wenyin just smiled bitterly. Then he shook his head, laughing and old. That's the only thing on my mind. The cool breeze blows at night while talking. House-style beard fluttering. but the corners of his eyes and forehead are wide and horizontal between smiles. The whole person grew old in an instant, and Lin Mo saw that the house style was a little low. He couldn't help but think in his heart, these days the training house seal is really sincere. The earth is teaching me. Treat me like a soil apprentice. But didn't he personally lead the army to attack the sealed demon kingdom back then? Burn and kill the looters. Come to think of it, Suzuki asked curiously, I heard that you are the king of the 8 ghosts. Is your name really Duan Shinkun, the commander of the Jindian army of that year? And Jai Feng was shocked when he heard this. Then I fell into the memories. Not speaking is a tacit acquiescence. It's easy to do the house style that wants to wander after thinking. Suddenly burned by the mosquito coil in his hand. Only then did he pull his thoughts back from his memories. Then Jai Feng nodded. Yes, I was still the deputy commander in that battle. After the fight, he was promoted to commander. Lin Mo heard this. His brows suddenly tightened slightly. Fighting between nations has existed since ancient times. But did you really burn and loot? Lin Mo finally couldn't help but ask Jai Feng. In the end, is it the 8 Ghost King Duan Shinkun? Just because of these days, Jai Feng is indeed teaching himself sincerely. And there is no other picture. And Jai Feng was silent for a long time. Finally admitted, he was only a deputy commander at the beginning. Lin Mo heard this. His brows tightened slightly. Hurriedly asked Jai Feng if he really burned and looted. Jai Feng nodded suddenly. He shook his head again and said yes. The order was given by the commander of the coalition forces at the time. My senior brother is also your uncle. Lin Mo and Yin stood up abruptly in an instant. He said, It's him. And Jai Feng hurriedly turned around and said goodbye to impulsiveness. You'll meet sooner or later. Not now, though. You need to strengthen yourself now. Otherwise, you'll die if you see him. Lin Mo Wenyin immediately calmed down. He couldn't help but nod his head unwillingly. Show that you understand. This is only because of his current strength. It's still a very weak chicken. That's when it happened. The house wind suddenly revealed a complicated look. Sign, I regretted it after that battle. I'd rather not be in that war. The demon kingdom has always been advocate for peace, and the people lived and worked in peace and contentment. Never took the initiative to provoke a war, and the state of Zhou invaded in order to annex. He made up a shocking lie. Zhou said that the demon sealing kingdom was about to open the southwest barrier. Let the demons of the land invade the kingdom with this. As soon as the rumors came out, many countries and people have condemned it. Zhou also used this as a reason. Mass summoning of armies from all over the country. Unite countries to crusade against the demon-sealing kingdom. I also mistakenly believed the rumors at the time. Participated in the crusade. After speaking, Jai Feng immediately showed a look of remorse. Grit your teeth. But I didn't know the truth until later. The demon-sealing kingdom did not want to open the southwest barrier. On the contrary, he also let the national teacher go to the southwest. Strengthen the defenses of the barrier there. Who would have thought? A big country. He told a lie to the whole world. After Jai Feng finished speaking, Lin Mo was already so angry that his fists were clenched. His eyes suddenly showed murder. Grit your teeth and say so. The state of Zhou took advantage of the situation to annex the sealed demon kingdom. Slaughter my people. Ruin my home. And Jai Feng punched the ground fiercely. Then he got up suddenly. Annoyed, Zhou lied to everyone. Not only in the war, but also in the war to massacre the demon people. Even after the war, Zhou did not spare the more than 100,000 people. The Zhou state sealed the people who were still alive in the demon kingdom, placed on the periphery of various cities. They eat the worst to stay, but when the ghost tide hits, they were the first to be attacked, and so they stubble. It has become a human barrier for the people of Zhou. As soon as the words fell, there was a loud bang. I saw Lin Mo slam his fist on the grave bag. Something like that. Even if you're not a person from the Demon Kingdom, it's hard to suppress the anger in your heart when you hear it. Not to mention, it is very likely that he is also the grandson of the sealed demon. This is simply a great blood feud. See Lin Mo's reaction. Zhai Feng suddenly lowered his head. Signs say that you will do this sooner or later. Know that you're going to ask today. I'll tell you. And Lin Mo clenched his fists and was silent for a long time. He looked at Zhai Feng, asked, so you don't want to be with them. You're tired of being in the army. That's why you came out and opened this Bayang Academy. And you took me as a disciple. It is also atonement for your own previous sins. And Zhai Feng was non-committal. He nodded heavily. I guess that's it. If you want to seek revenge on me, I don't blame you either. Lin Mo heard this. Immediately spoke decisively. Interrupting no. It's not all your fault. If you want to blame it, you can blame this Zhou country. Immediately, Lin Mo jumped off the grave bag. Then in a firm tone, opened his mouth and said, I want the blood debt of Zhou to be repaid. With that, Lin Mo stretched his sore shoulders. Walked towards the school. At the same time, he said, Master, train tomorrow. Continued, and the house wind looked at the back of Lin Mo leaving. After a long time, he said he was a good boy. It seems that the mad people have been saved. All the Zhou troops returned to defense. Troops are stationed in various provinces. The Jiang Provincial Security Bureau was also fully taken over by the troops, and the army after taking over the security service. Efforts have begun to clean up the various treacherous areas in the province, and sweeping the places where wild ghosts roam. Even the Blue Wolf Ghost Domain, and a large ghost domain like Nanshan, also included in it. After speaking, Zhai Feng slapped the blackboard with high emotions. Shouting out the ghosts, he distributed them to various schools. Students assist with processing. You can also get good payouts. The students below the text are listless. Some are even yawning. This made Zhai Feng, who thought he could set off the atmosphere, slightly embarrassing. Isn't this student supposed to be shouting excitedly? That's when it happened. A little quack suddenly got up. Raise your hand to indicate that you have something to say. And Zhai Feng saw this. Immediately, excitedly, said this classmate, Do you want to get a mission? Xiao Gaga's face was full of impatient urging. Tao is not a teacher. I'm hungry if you're done. Don't put it off. Zhai Feng saw this. Immediately panicked. He kept waving his hand. The emotions are high, and the ghost is killed, and he will be praised through the media. It's on TV and on the radio. Everyone is enthusiastically signing up. Suzuki and Akiya couldn't help but look at each other. Then a consensus was reached in an instant. It is a fool to have ghost beads that do not turn. It's just because these days they are worried that there are no ghosts to kill. The ghosts around the school already regarded Lin Mo as the boss. He is obedient to him. Right now, it's just the right time to take advantage of the tasks released by the province. You can get paid for getting rid of ghosts. The man, in order to save the people of the demon sealing country, resolutely decided to improve his strength first. And the Zhou army has already returned to defense. Troops are stationed in various provinces. The Jiang Provincial Security Bureau was also fully taken over by the troops, and the army has begun to clean up the ghost domains in the province, and sweeping the places where wild ghosts roam. Therefore, the military will be tasked with cleaning up the wild ghosts. It was decentralized to various faculties. Asked students to assist with this. As soon as I heard the legend of a ghost pig, Lin Mo and Achio immediately glanced at each other tacitly. After all, it would be a fool not to earn money. Right now, it's just the right time to take advantage of the tasks released by the province. You can also get paid for removing ghosts. Immediately, Lin Mo stood up. Teacher, we want to get the task. Zhai Feng heard the voice. Hurriedly shouted excitedly. After fierce competition, Lin Mo and Achio got the mission. Zhai Feng just finished speaking. All the students immediately walked away, straight to the cafeteria. And Lin Mo, he took the task manual and task card from Zhai Feng's hand. It says White Ocean Academy, responsible for dealing with 2 ultimate hunters in the haunted house. After Lin Mo finished reading it, I immediately felt a little speechless. He couldn't help but wonder a little, Lord Headmaster. This haunted house is the 2 ultimate ghosts. This task is too weak. How other schools are more divided than us. And Zhai Feng immediately recited Confucianism. We are a junior college. Can it be compared to other key schools? I won the task of this haunted house. After saying that, Zhai Feng was playing haha while walking towards the classroom door. At the same time, there is no left. There is no leftover. At the moment of walking to the door, Zhai Feng suddenly turned his head sharply, cast a meaningful glance at the 2 of them. Then he grinned and said, "The rules are dead. Man is alive." And as soon as Lin Mo heard Zhai Feng say this, he actually said this. Immediately said excitedly, "Master, you mean we're going to rob them of their mission?" Zhai Feng heard this, hurriedly shook his head. "Ha, I didn't say it." Lin Mo immediately understood what Zhai Feng meant. He immediately spoke to Achio. "It doesn't matter what tasks he doesn't do. We'll rob him." Achio, who has the same smell, also pulled the corners of his mouth and said hard yes. At best, they don't get paid. Anyway, we killed the ghost and took the ghost bead. He loves to give, but not to pay. Then Lin Mo came to the school library. He planned to find Enron to see if he would be interested in joining. Lin Mo just came to the library. At a glance, I saw Enron's figure. He said without surprise. Here I saw Enron sitting on the floor, holding a book thicker than a dictionary, tied in the same double ponytail as always. Quite cute. And Enron glanced at Lin Mo. "Keep your head down and read." At the same time, he said that there is no money for books here. When you get out, you won't be able to see it. Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help but raise my eyebrows. Asked, "Are you going out?" But the security bureau's wanted notice for you hasn't been revoked yet. It's still dangerous for you to go straight out. And Rand saw that Lin Mo cared so much about himself. Can't help but blink wide. I said I wasn't an Aries student. You can't stay here forever. Then Rand smiled lightly and stretched. Rest assured. I've been hiding with the security service for so many years. I know all the ways they are. After speaking, and Rand suddenly came to Lin Mo's side. Then he whispered, "And I have a big ticket here." And Rand was after sticking to Lin Mo's ear. Immediately whispered mysteriously that Wu Kuan had news. In the past 2 days, the security service has recently been escorting a batch of supplies. Come to Marina City. I'm going to tie it up for him. Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help but be stunned, and my eyes widened. He thought it was enough for him to steal someone else's task. I didn't expect Enron's operation to be more ruthless. And Enron saw Lin Mo's stunned eyes. Immediately spoke. It's all owed to me by the security service. Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help but murmur in my heart. Directly rob the security service. Is there still a royal law for this? Is there still a law? Subsequently, and Rand suddenly made a cute grimace at Lin Mo. Then I drew a flatbread. It's going to be sent then. I'll give you a penny. Lin Mo didn't say much when he saw this. He came this time. Originally, I was going to invite Enron to come along. Go and intercept ghost hunting missions from other schools. That doesn't seem to work. Then Lin Mo asked with some suspicion. Just the 2 of you. Enron heard this. Killing a ghost isn't threatening. Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help but suggest that you are the only one. Or I'm too. But he wasn't done yet. And Rand reached out and pressed it to his mouth. Interrupted him. Subsequently, and Rand's eyes lowered and said, in case he was on the way to robbery, you've been discovered. They'll have a reason to arrest you outright. I can't drag you down. Then Rand smiled sweetly. He pointed to the opening of the book in his hand. I'm not as weak as you think. Look at this. Lin Mo saw the four big characters of the magic circle entrance. I can't help but feel a little confused. The circle is a ghost. The teacher is created through the transmission of his own aura. Different circles are of different sizes. The role is different. A top-level wizard can block the realm, make a barrier, blocking the ghosts with strange traces. But it's too difficult for ordinary people to practice. At most, it can only serve to restrain ghosts. So very few people learn. Lin Mo looked at the thick book. I couldn't help but be surprised at such an obscure thing. Will you be able to learn it in a while? And then Ran reluctantly put the book back on the shelf. Suddenly showed a proud look, which others couldn't understand. Not necessarily. Then Imran glanced at the book, suddenly sighed and said, "These books are too expensive. This one would have to be tens of thousands. I can't afford it." Pen and see this. Hurriedly reached out to pick up the book. Then he said, "You haven't finished reading it yet. I'll borrow it for you." Enron heard this, immediately lost to the embrace. Then he thanked him happily and said, "Really? Thank you." The forest heard the sound, immediately smiled heartily, and said, "A small problem. I'm still waiting for you to finish the security agency. Divide me with something good." The man wanted to go with him. Go hunt the ghosts of other schools. I didn't expect it. Enron actually planned to spend 2 days looting the security services deliveries. However, Enron didn't plan to let Lin Mo join. It's just because he doesn't want to involve Lin Mo. And Lin Mo had to heartily agree, waiting for Enron to come back after robbing the security bureau. Share your own goodies. In this way, Lin Mo and Achio put on their bags. Compressed biscuits and water are prepared. There are also some spare ghost beads. Set off immediately to complete the task of cleaning up the wild ghosts. But as soon as I went out, I encountered a downpour. Lin Mo looked up at the Queen of Heaven. I had no choice but to say that it was raining heavily. It seems that I won't be able to make it to the mission location today. And Ashio can't help but feel a little nostalgic for the black little fat. If only the black chubby was here. This will drill into the lass. There's nothing in the trash can. And Lin Mo was the first time. I also want to pull up the black chubby. Can eat a black chubby who has suffered a loss. Immediately and resolutely refused. It's just because the teacher series really made him miserable. That's when it happened. Achio asked with some confusion, "Didn't you also invite senior sister Mu Wanqing? What about others?" And Lin Mo smiled with kindness. Explained that Principal Zhai Feng gave him a little character. He said he'll meet us later. The mountain trails get muddy when it rains. The two of them walked a distance. Suddenly, I found out. In the midst of the rainstorm looms a dark house. Seeing this, Lin Mo immediately said excitedly, "Look, there seems to be a room in front." And Achio's face suddenly turned bad. It was like an exhibition hall. I met my dad when he was walking with his head shaved. Subsequently, Achio saw Lin Mo's expression of complete incomprehension. Immediately frowned. "Explain our museum. That is, a place dedicated to the storage of the dead." And Lin Mo immediately smiled when he heard this. Then pick up the pace and walk towards our pavilion. At the same time, he said that he should not be in charge, as long as you can shelter from the rain. If there are some cows, ghosts, snakes, and gods, it's time to give us ghost beads. Seeing this, Achio didn't say anything more. Hurley followed. It is important to take shelter from the rain first. Longing for a mountain-run dead horse. It looks close. I walked for more than 20 minutes to get to the mirror. At first glance, the venue is generally a large courtyard. The door was open. Enter the door and walk down a long path. It's in front of the largest mansion. Achio looked at the wooden mansion in front of him. Suddenly, he said, "It's raining too much. Or let's go in and hide." And Lin Mo immediately nodded and agreed. After all, it was blown by the wind. The feeling of the rain hitting my body is really not uncomfortable. Then the two gently pushed the door open. The entire building is made of wood. It gives a sense of awe. And inside the mansion is a cool human quilt. placed on the floor. It is wrapped in a straw mat, neatly arranged throughout the house. Just when the two were shocked, a rickety old woman suddenly appeared behind the two. "I've disturbed my guests." Suzuki hurriedly stabilized his mind when he heard the sound. "Ask what the guest is." And the old woman went straight inside. At the same time, he said that he was lying in here. "It's my guest." Then the old woman waved her cane. "The tone is very unkind. The pavilion is a place for the dead, not for the living. Get out of here." The two of Suzuki saw that the old woman was so resolute. There is no room for retreat. The two looked at each other. Then he turned away and said, Okay, let's go." However, just as the two were about to turn away, the old woman suddenly became excited. She stared closely at the razor behind Achio. "Openings and so on. You are the descendant of the shaver." Achio couldn't help but be right when he heard this. Then he immediately stopped, asked, "Yes. What's wrong?" And the old woman's countenance immediately softened. Said to Achio, "As long as you are willing to shave the heads of my guests, I'll promise to let you stay overnight." Achio heard this. The corners of his mouth twitched immediately. Then he looked ugly and confirmed, "You mean, let me shave the heads of the dead?" And Lin Mo instigated this. "It's better than being out in the wind and rain." Achio was a little helpless, glancing at the raging storm outside. After a moment's hesitation, some desperately agreed. Then Achio pulled out the knife directly from his back. Then he walked to the straw mat of a country, ready to start shaving your head. Then he wondered, this person is cold. Why do you have to shave your head? The old man didn't explain. Instead, he urged him to talk less nonsense. Shave quickly, and Achio. I had to use a knife to lightly scratch his scalp. My colleague scolded in his heart, if it weren't for the bullshit rainstorm. How could I do this kind of work? As a result, the epidermis has become very fragile after a long period of cooling. This melon directly got half of the skin off. Achio hurriedly looked at Lin Mo. Try to ask him for help. Unexpectedly, Lin Mo was happily playing with his mobile phone at this time. Achio immediately put away that naive thought. Keep working. He couldn't help but secretly complain that it was really unreliable. I can only go on it myself. In this side, Lin Mo sent his situation to Mu Wanqing and said that he and Achio, it was the first time I had encountered something so stimulating. Mu Wanqing said that she was having a supper. Less disgusting. Suddenly, the system sounded a prompt. Congratulations to the host for earning 100 points for breaking defense. Lin Mo couldn't help but secretly rejoice in his heart. There is such an unexpected gain. Achio, after Ma Li's sentence was resolved, he glanced at the next sentence. Suddenly, he asked the old woman that this person was bald. You don't have to shave. These two men who are not afraid of heaven and earth, to shelter from the rain. I actually came to the exhibition hall, and the woman who manages the pavilion, after seeing Akia's razor, he even said that as long as he helped the corpses here shave their heads, you can keep them overnight. Achio had no choice but to agree with a dark face. After shaving the first sentence with nausea, he suddenly asked the old man that this man was bald. You don't have to shave. And the old man immediately stretched out his hand to stop him and was about to turn around and leave. Achio said in a tough tone that he wanted to shave. That's why I asked you to shave your head. I just want you to shave all the hair off the top of their heads. The hair on the top of the head should be shaved clean for every sentence. Achio heard this. I couldn't help but sigh angrily. Then he nodded. He had no choice but to continue to be under the roof. Had to bow his head. The old woman saw this. Only then did he carry the oil lamp with satisfaction. Then turn around and leave. At the same time, he told him to do a good job. Don't miss a word. After saying that, he said, he left without looking back. There was only one oil lamp left in the restaurant. It glows faintly. Now it was completely dark. After the old woman left, Lin Mo looked at Achio's hardback. Couldn't help but say that he was gone. Achio, don't be too sincere. Just shave a few of them, and you're done. Achio heard this. While concentrating on shaving your head, he nodded and said shave 2 more. It was the accommodation fee. After shaving 2 or 3 more, the coffin board not far away suddenly shook violently. There was a loud thump. Suzuki was immediately frightened by the moment just now. Get up immediately. What is the situation? And Achio hurriedly picked up the razor. I don't know. It seems that the sentence I just shaved my head moved. The next moment, the coffin board suddenly made a loud bang. The coffin board was smashed into the air, and the corpse that was lying quietly in the coffin. Suddenly, he stood up straight from the coffin. This kind of ghost place. Don't hesitate to do this. It's kind of scary. The two saw this. They immediately glanced at each other. Something was wrong. The two of them couldn't help but exclaim, I haven't heard of shaving my head leading to corpse fraud. Before the two of them could figure it out, anyone whose head has been shaved by Achio. At this point, they all straightened up, surrounded the two. That's when it happened. The bloodline ghosts suddenly stared at the top of their heads. Guessed that they were zombies who raised ghouls. Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help frowning and raising ghouls. What for? The bloodline ghost hurriedly opened his mouth to explain to Lin Mo. The ghoul stores a wisp of his own ghostly aura in the corpse. Level oxygen. 49 hairs grew from the top of the corpse's head. Wait for all the hair to fall out naturally, or chopped off by a masculine razor. Corpses can be manipulated by ghosts. Lin Mo listened to the explanation. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. I muttered in my heart, if only I could contract with ghouls. Isn't it the same as I have an army of zombies? Used to resist damage. It was just perfect. Immediately, he excitedly said, that's it. Contract one more. Then Lin Mo asked the blood ghost about Brother Blood Boy. Did you say that the old woman just now was a ghoul? The blood child ghost shook his head. Analytic Tao is not. The old woman was human, presumably held hostage by the threat of a ghoul. I came forward to do things. Looks like the ghost is quite cautious. Fumi and Suzuki wasted no more time. Directly make bleeding children. At the same time, he opened his mouth and said to check it out for me. Search with blood children. Don't miss a single place. Suddenly, the blood boy quickly swept through the museum. But the old woman was nowhere to be found. After passing through the backyard gate, immediately, I found the traces of the looking ghost and the old woman. Immediately, Lin Mo shouted in the backyard, followed by. Lin Mo and Achio didn't pay attention to the group of zombies anymore. Go straight to the backyard. Before coming to the backyard gate, Lin Mo kicked out very simply. Just kick the door open. When the old woman heard this, she hurriedly turned around and looked. He saw Lin Mo full of murderous aura. Immediately shouted in a panic. Who told you to come to the backyard? Do you want to live in the exhibition hall? Lin Mo ignored the woman's shouts. Directly and simply shouted the ghost behind it. Give labor and management out. Lin Mojian didn't react. Immediately began to summon contract ghosts. At the same time, he said coldly, right? Then you just wait for the next moment. Chainsaw ghost, and ghost fell to the ground with 5 thuds. Then frantically at the corpses in the pavilion. Cut it haphazardly. Time. The pavilion was destroyed by 2 ghosts. And Lin Mo saw this. Immediately so proud that he didn't come out. Then I'll chop up all your inventory. A system prompt will sound immediately. Congratulations to the host for earning 100 points for breaking defense. The old man saw this. Hurriedly shouted anxiously. You ruined his things. He's going to get you in trouble. And Lin Mo heard this. But he just sneered. He looked around and said, I'm just going to let him out. And yet at this moment, suddenly, there was a clanging sound. I saw it on the ground. There were a lot of imprints surrounded by energy. And remember it densely. Except on the ground. The roof and walls were also covered with imprints. The old man saw this. I was instantly scared and trembled. Immediately after that, there was a clattering sound. A zombie's arm suddenly stretched out from the ground. Suddenly, the entire backyard was filled with zombies. Zombies one by one. It's very easy to get from the place where the mark appears. Crawled out. At a glance. Dense. The entire shipyard was full. The old man was immediately frightened and trembled. It's over, it's over. The ghouls went berserk. And the bloodline ghost hurriedly reminded. It's a ghoul summoning zombies. Whenever the zombies are raised, will be put into a body bag by him. Summon it when you need it. Raising ghouls can take a wisp of ghost in themselves. It is stored in the corpse. It is then transformed into a zombie. And Lin Mo was immediately moved. Just make a contract with this ghost. It's like having an army of zombies. Immediately, Lin Mo summoned the chainsaw ghost and the ghost martial arts. Come and destroy everywhere. Attempt to lure out ghouls. But the cautious ghoul did not show up. Instead, summon an army of zombies to deal with Lin Mo. Before he could react, summon zombies. Immediately, he couldn't wait to fly towards Lin Mo. But Lin Mo sent a hellish arrow to kill the zombie in seconds. Some disagreed. Road. The combat power of these zombies is only at the level of a junior ghost. It's not a threat to us. And the bloodline ghost watched the zombies rush out of the green ketchup. Immediately, anxiously reminded to be careful. There is corpse poison in the blood. Lin Mo looked at the ground that had been corroded by corpse poison. Immediately, his face turned dark. And the bloodline ghost hurriedly spoke. Zombies do have low combat effectiveness, but their nails, teeth, and blood were poisonous. Absolutely not touched. Immediately, Lin Mo looked up. I saw that the entire pavilion was full of zombies. They were surrounded. He couldn't help but secretly say something bad in his heart. So many zombies. It's absolutely impossible not to bump into it. And so on. Sooner or later, they'll be wiped out. In order to avoid being splashed by corpse poison, Lin Mo had no choice but to kick the zombie that flew away. Then he anxiously asked if he could find the body of the ghoul. Extinguish it directly. Inashio immediately flew away when he heard the sound and used the zombie as a stepping stone. Leaped towards the wall. At the same time, he said that this guy is very cunning. It is estimated that it is hidden far away. I went up to the fence and took a look. And Achio just landed on the wall, only to find a scene that shocked him. It's not just zombies that fill the shipyard, even outside the shipyard. It's also a dense zombie. Achio suddenly exclaimed in shock. Lin Mo was full of zombies outside. The water around the fence is impassable. Lin Mo immediately gritted his teeth when he heard the sound. Then he said angrily, since he couldn't find his place, then find a way to force him out. Immediately, Lin Mo turned around and dragged the old woman up. He shouted, "Where are the ghouls hiding?" And the old woman trembled like chaff. I didn't know. I don't really know. Seeing Lin Mo's murderous appearance, the old woman hurriedly explained. He just held my grandson hostage. Threatened me to help him take care of the body at the shipyard. Each time he left after raising the corpse. I don't know where he was. Lin Mo heard this. I can't help but curse in my heart. Then he threw the old man aside. Immediately, the roar of zombies sounded all around. The zombies seemed to have received orders. Began to pounce on the trees like a mad dog. And the forest is immediate. He motioned to the ghost warrior and the chainsaw ghost to stop it. But he secretly felt something strange in his heart. It always feels a little weird. Cut down these zombies that have been raised. Raising ghouls doesn't feel it. But destroy the corpses that are about to be raised. Instead, let him break the big house. Come to think of it, Lin Mo immediately set his eyes on the old woman. Then he muttered in his heart, could this be the key to solving the problem of raising ghouls? Lin Mo's brain was running fast. Immediately copy the hell. He asked the old woman, where else is he still there? Put the corpses that didn't turn into zombies. The old man heard this. immediately stammered and pleaded. My grandson is in his hands. I'm telling you, my grandson is going to die. You're doing well. Just let me go. Lin Mo heard this, but directly put the ghost sword in his hand. It was put on the old man's neck. Hurry up. Maybe we can help you get your grandson out. The old man looked at the sword full of devil cry, immediately screamed in fright. He hurriedly replied, I said immediately. The old woman trembled and pointed with her hand to the backyard of the house. Open the door to the basement. There are hundreds of corpses down there. As soon as the words fell, Lin Mo immediately rushed towards the location of the basement. And Achio saw this, hurriedly began to summon the silver ghost. At the same time, his shouts were heard. Lin Mo, I'll open the way for you. With the call of Akio, the shadow contorted into the form of death. The sides slashed at the zombies that crashed into Lin Mo, and the ghouls seemed to realize that something is wrong. Immediately, he manipulated the zombie hordes to flock to Lin Mo, although there is a silver ghost to open the way. However, shadow ghosts can only attack with the back of a knife, only supported by ghosts, so it's quite laborious. And Lin Mo ran quickly under his feet. At the same time, he shouted to see his brother without looking back. I'm quick to get started. Achio immediately answered the brother. Watch out for him too. Quickly came to the side of the silver ghost. Together with the silver ghost, stopped the zombies chasing Lin Mo. Lin Mo came to the house very quickly. I opened the door directly. I saw that it was densely packed inside. The corpses were neatly arranged. Lin Mo hurriedly pinched his nose and asked Brother Blood Pupil, These uncultivated corpses are not poisonous. The Blood Pupil ghost nodded and replied that it was not poisonous. Cut casually, Lin Mo immediately put his mind at ease when he heard this. Then he twisted his neck and said, That's good. Look, you can't get out this time. Lin Mo threw off his arms now. It was a slash at the corpse on display. A system prompt sounded immediately. Congratulations to the host for earning 200 points for breaking defense. Ghoul broken defense detected up to 20%. 79% away from signing the contract directly. Lin Mo finally heard the voice he wanted to hear. He couldn't help but smugly that he had finally broken the defense. Little brother, I won't let you get out. The man finally found the base camp for raising ghouls. And Achio immediately summoned the silver ghost to help Lin Mo open the way. Lin Mo came to the hut in the backyard, immediately threw off his arms to the corpse that has not yet completed its transformation. It's a slash. Immediately, Lin Mo gained 200 points for breaking defense. At the same time, the degree of defense of raising ghouls has also reached 20%. I heard the voice I wanted to hear. This made Lin Mo more and more excited. Less than half a minute, and he cut down the whole floor. Lin Mo finished cutting a layer. Then go straight to the next floor. Start swinging your sword. The threshold immediately sounded a system prompt. Congratulations to the host for earning 400 points for breaking defense. 69% of the ghost detection. 30% away from signing the contract directly. Lin Mo knew. It's not enough to want to make a contract to look up to ghosts. Gotta work harder. He immediately came to the third floor quickly. The sword fell. The madness begins to slash again. A system prompt will sound immediately. Congratulations to the host for earning 200 points for breaking defense. Raise detected. Ghouls break 80%. 19% away from signing the contract directly. As soon as I heard this, Suzuki couldn't help but smile smugly. The ghouls did not dare to appear. Then just sweep all his base camps. The contract is 9 out of 10. Meanwhile, a look-up ghost hiding on another hill. My heart was dripping blood, only because of those who were cut down inside the corpse. He has a trace of ghostly energy, so you can see it. The ghost spirit dissipated for no reason. The up-and-looking ghost who was dressed up was already angry at this time. He couldn't help but yell with an ugly face. Who did it? ruined the treasure I had worked so hard to amass. Soon the ghouls calmed down. Then he glanced at the little boy to the side. Then the ghoul reached out in anger, grabbed the little boy's neck. At the same time, incompetently roared the damn old woman. Let you betray me. See the little boy constantly struggling. He looked almost out of breath. The ghoul made that hoarse voice again. You can only blame your grandmother for not keeping the secret. Immediately, the ghoul became fierce in his hand. I'm going to use the little boy to vent my anger. However, just as the little boy was about to get cold, raise ghouls in the ear. But suddenly an electronic voice sounded. Mr. Ghoul, congratulations on winning the Lucky Quiz campaign. Just answer the questions correctly. You have the honor of becoming Lin Mo's contract ghost. Listen to the question. Raising ghouls is about to go crazy in no time. Lao Tzu is angry now. Why did you ask me to do the question? Immediately, he yelled, and listen to your mother. The voice just came. The electronic voice sounded again. Congratulations on your successful answer. The topic is that Dad is not at home. What to have for dinner? The answer is to fuck you. 10%, 20% in the contract. Before the looking ghost could react, what was going on? His ghost body quickly dissipated, turned into a devil-may-cry, floated up, and for no reason, it turned into a ghost-looking ghost who weeps. I can't help but feel a little confused. Damn, what the hell is going on? Before he could figure it out, the ghostly aura he had formed began to move, fly straight to the shipyard. Not for a while. A ghostly aura floated down from the sky. Then it was directly attached to Lin Mo's left arm. In the blink of an eye, the ghost aura condensed into a small lion. Lin Mo saw this. I couldn't help but raise my eyebrows. With a long sigh of relief, the contract was finally signed. Meanwhile, Achio was still gritting his teeth and holding on. Help Lin Mo fend off the zombie army outside. Zombies are like they can't be fought at all. After fighting, wave after wave. But the next moment, all the zombies in the hall froze. It came to a screeching halt, looking at the zombie army that was stunned in place. Akiyu finally breathed a sigh of relief. I almost didn't stand it. It seems that Lin Mo has succeeded. And Lin Mo looked at the several contract ghost patterns on his left arm. I can't help but hook the corners of my mouth. There was one more opening. Next time, the right arm will be fine. Evenly, I want to see what the new little brother looks like. Lin Mo immediately tapped his arm, summoned the bat ghouls, and as soon as the bat ghoul landed, immediately hysterical roar bastard. Why did you destroy so many of my corpses? Do you know how much work I went into collecting the bodies? Do you know how long I've waited to raise a corpse? And Lin Mo heard this, but he just smiled faintly. TSK, you're always so impatient. Subsequently, Lin Mo opened the attribute panel of the ghoul. Then start looking at it. Carrying a corpse bag to raise a ghoul has a ghost gas value of 570. 430 until the next upgrade. Loyalty, 1%. The skill has not been activated. Corpse bag zombies are 1, 10, 21, 000 zombies. That's the equivalent of 1,000 ghosts. Lin Mo immediately said excitedly, there are 1,000 zombies. It's amazing, the ghoul immediately scolded. If you hadn't destroyed my baby, I could have more. Lin Mo heard this. Then he waved his hand towards the basement and said, don't be impatient. I destroyed you on 2 floors. Doesn't that leave you a layer? The ghoul heard. Suddenly it exploded on the spot. What's the use of that? It takes at least half a year for a corpse hair to fall off. I'll have to wait 20 years or so. But Lin Mo raised his eyebrows and said, I have a way. My classmate had to have a razor. It can quickly help you shave off the fashion. No, it will save you a long time. Look up to the ghost and hear this. Immediately opened his eyebrows and laughed. Immediately, Lin Mo shouted at the top, Achio, lend me your knife. It's coming, it's coming. It only took 2.5 minutes for Lin Mo to come. I successfully contracted to raise ghouls. and the ghoul is a wizened Taoist priest. The clothes on his body are also the same as those in Xiangxi, although the ghouls have 1,000 zombies. But loyalty is only 1%. In order to increase the loyalty of the ghouls, Lin Mo immediately asked Achio to borrow the razor. Use it, and Achio is not stingy. Directly let the razor be brought down by Ghost Wuxing to Lin Mo. Soon, Ghost Wuxing handed the razor to Lin Mo. Lin Mo grinned and said with a smile, "You have good knife skills. Help shave the hair off the top of the heads." Ghost Wuxing couldn't help but be stunned. Some are overwhelmed. "I won't shave my head." After Lin Mo said that he didn't need to shave so finely, Oni Wuxing was very happy to pick up the razor. The hand quickly removed the corpse hair from the heads of the corpses, shaved along with the scalp. The swordsmanship of the ghoul is so skillful. A large piece was shaved at once. He couldn't help but soften his face and said, "It's not bad." Immediately, the system will sound a prompt. Loyalty to ghosts increased by 9%. The remaining 10%, though. Looking up at the ghost, he still holds a grudge against Lin Mo. What was just done? He immediately exasperated, but oaths are scarce. "You returned so many corpses to me. Still unforgivable." Lin Mo didn't think so. However, the source of the corpse is not a matter at all. There are more than 10,000 hectares of deserted graves around Baiyang College. There were too many corpses to count. When it comes to the desolate grave, the ghoul immediately remembered the unbearable past. He couldn't help but speak in a somewhat frightened tone. "I know that, but the corpse of the deserted grave cannot be stolen casually. The devil over there is fierce. I stole a corpse last time, was chased for half a mile." Suzuki couldn't help but grin when he heard this. Patted him on the shoulder. "You can rest assured that this is said. Now the desolate grave is unified by a female ghost in red, and he has a very good relationship with me. I asked him to send you the body." "No problem." As soon as I heard this, the ghoul was immediately excited. "Really, that's great." Suddenly, the system sounded a prompt. Ghoul loyalty increased by 5%. The remaining 15%, then Lin Mo couldn't help but muttered in his heart. It seems that corpses are the lifeblood of ghouls. Got the door to life. It's like chainsaw. Sooner or later, it will become completely loyal. After the ghost warrior shaved all his heads neatly, the ghoul immediately opened a burlap bag. Collect all the zombies in the entire area. Just a moment's work. The sacks of burlap were full, crashing down to the ghoul. And Lin Mo was not idle at this time. Open the ghoul skill panel directly. Activates the ghoul raising skill. Exchange for a skill to raise a ghoul and successfully obtain the skill corpse control. Ghouls can summon any number of zombies, and it can be flexibly controlled up to a maximum distance of 500 meters. The aura cost is 1.1 ghosts. Ability cooldown for 0 seconds. Exchange for the Ghoul 2 skill. Successfully acquire the skill Zombie Self-Destruct. It can control any zombie to self-destruct. Self-detonation will deal area of effect construction damage. Enemies that are attacked will take magic damage. Also infected with corpse poison. Continued bleeding. Skill cooldown for 0 seconds when aura is consumed. Lin Mo after reading the skill introduction. I couldn't help but think about it secretly in my heart. Controla zumbia par zumbia. It's going to be an aura that consumes that me. The aura of the double encounter with the ghost corpse is online. Just enough to control 1,000 zombies at the same time. After solving the problem of the loyalty of the ghouls, Lin Mo took him back to the ground, and the old woman looked up at the ghost when she saw it. Immediately, anxiously, said, "Uncle, is my grandson okay?" And Lin Mo looked at the old woman who was still frightened. I couldn't help but raise my eyebrows. Pointing behind him, "Your grandson is on the opposite hill." The old woman who was still alive heard this. Immediately cried with joy. "Really, thank you, Xiaoxia. Thank you for the subsequent." Lin Mo put away all the contract ghosts. The end of the matter. I was finally able to get a good night's sleep. After all, I'm going to the swimming pool tomorrow morning. I did the task of the security bureau. On the second day, Lin Mo set off, prepared to complete the mission of the security agency. Destroy the evil spirits in the swimming pool. Just when Lin Mo was blowing the sea breeze, there was a sudden exclamation from the side. Have you heard? The water breeze swimming pool is dead again. This is the 12th issue of the month. Suzuki heard. I couldn't help but murmur in my heart. Water breeze swimming pool. Isn't that the destination of our mission? That's when it happened. A middle-aged man suddenly said with a sigh of relief. Police officers and agents of the security service who went to investigate the crime. Several also died. The ant on the side was scared. I've definitely heard about it. It is said that the dead are miserable. All of them were dark. It's like being poisoned. The young man listened. I couldn't help but exclaim, this is definitely a demon killing. That's when it happened. Suzuki suddenly came over. He patted the young man on the shoulder. Asked Buddy with interest, is it as evil as you say? I'm getting ready for a swim. Qinglian Wenyin immediately turned pale, hurriedly shook his head, and said goodbye. Don't go. You're going to Jiangli. Don't even go to that place. My aunt used to be a lifeguard at the swimming pool. He said he saw 3 men die in the water. Lin Wenyin couldn't help but be slightly stunned. Then he frowned slightly and asked if he was drowned. Could it be that the drowning ghost did it? Young people heard this. It was as if he had fallen into a terrifying memory. My whole body began to tremble wildly. After a long half-ring, he said tremblingly, it's not a drowning ghost. It was entangled in a woman's hair. Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help but start guessing again. You say the hair is tangled. Could it be a hair ghost? Young people hear the voice. I couldn't help but shake my head, chuckle, and see that you haven't studied well. How can there be a hair ghost? I'm a big fan of ghosts. The second ghost master finished speaking. The young man suddenly assumed the posture of a senior expert, confidently analyzed based on my years of experience. It's some kind of female ghost with a deep grudge. Get ready to go to the Water Peak swimming pool. Perform a mission to clean up ghosts. But who expected? There have been 12 homicides in this swimming pool, according to insiders. The victims were all entangled in the woman's hair. A young man who was very good at studying ghosts. A firm expression. It must have been committed by some kind of female ghost with a deep grudge. But Lin Mo pouted. He said that this research is too lax. Being entangled in long hair is a female ghost. The ancient men also wore long braids. It could also be an ancient male ghost. The young man saw that Lin Mo didn't believe in himself. Immediately, I was in a hurry. He quickly pulled out a notebook. At the same time, he said, don't believe it. I looked up 12 homicides at the swimming pool. Then he spread out his handwriting to Lin Mo. Then he spoke again after comparing the names. I found that the dead were almost all men. Even the police officers who investigated the case together pointed to the death of the male policeman. What kind of ghost have you ever seen that only kills men? It's definitely resentment. Deep female ghost. Suzuki heard this. I can't help but feel a little tricky to roll up my sleeves. Then he spoke again and said that he would only kill men. It's weird. Wouldn't that be dangerous? He pulled up his cuffs. The 7 patterns on the left arm are arranged one after the other. Suddenly, it came into the eyes of the young man. The young man was immediately stunned. I couldn't help but exclaim 7 patterns. 7 contract ghosts. You're too fierce, aren't you? Lin Mo Wenyin just shook his head. A flat face responded. What's wrong with this? It's only in the single digits. Immediately, the system will sound a prompt. Congratulations to the host for earning 50 points for breaking defense. And the young man saw Lin Mo's unfathomable look. Suddenly, I was secretly excited in my heart. Hit the ghost master to begin. There are only a handful of contract ghosts with more than double digits. A master is definitely a master. In this moment, his admiration for Lin Mo was already full. He calmed his excited heart. Then a trembling hand was reached, opened his mouth and said, "My name is Luo Chung, from Star Picking Academy. It's my only brother." Lin Mo saw that Luo Chung was quite sincere. He also extended his hand in a friendly manner. A simple handshake to introduce Lin Mo. White Ocean College. Luo Chung, after hearing Lin Mo's name, immediately jumped up excitedly. "You're the one who broke the Ghost Realm trial record." That's when it happened. The ferry just docked, and Lin Mo and Chio didn't waste time. I got off the boat very quickly. Then Lin Mo waved goodbye to Luo Chung and said, "I'll go first. There are still some urgent matters. We'll talk another day." Luo Chung immediately waved his hand in response. "I'm on a mission to work on a graveyard. If it's okay, come over and take a walk. Run and give us pointers." Akia couldn't help but be right when he heard this. Then he turned his face to look at Lin Mo. Asked about the crematorium. "It seems to be a high-level evil spirit. Is this task Rob?" Lin Mo immediately nodded in response, "Of course. But let's get rid of the swimming pool first." Luo Chung just said that it was in the swimming pool. Ghosts only do things to men. That's a little tricky. Speaking of this, Lin Mo's face couldn't help but become a little solemn. Again, after all, we had just won the smoke ghost by luck before. Unknown evil spirit. We don't guarantee a complete victory. Gotta figure it out. It's easy to do after thinking about it. Lin Mo suddenly had an idea. Shouted excitedly, "I've got a great idea." Then Lin Mo smiled mysteriously. Directly pulled Chio into the clothing store. After 10 minutes, the two of them came out of it. Subsequently, Lin Mo and Chio came to the door of the swimming pool. Uncle couldn't help muttering, "Is this really okay?" Lin Mo nodded firmly and listened to me. "Absolutely yes." That's when it happened. The owner of the Water Breeze swimming pool is a bald man. Suddenly he shouted, "What are you two doing here? It is closed here. Hurry up." But Lin Mo didn't panic at all. Instead, he shook the wig on his head very elegantly. At this time, the two had already disguised themselves as women's clothing bosses. And Lin Mo, with a calm face, he replied that we are from Lin Feng Academy. Later deal with the ghosts of the swimming pool. The bald boss heard this. Immediately change your face. With a smile on his face, he said, "It's time for you. I am the owner of this swimming pool. This series of murders has no business. Please, two of you, help me deal with the ghost." Appreciate. Lin Mo heard this. Immediately stretched out 2 fingers and rubbed them. At the same time, what is the use of opening the Daoguang gratitude? Let's get practical. The bald head saw this, hurriedly flattered, and said, "As long as you can get rid of the ghosts, I'll give you 100,000 each." Lin Mo and Chio immediately glanced at each other, obviously very happy with this extra income, although 100,000 is not much for them. But why not take it if you can take more? Immediately, Lin Mo grabbed the bald boss's hand, walked towards the swimming pool. At the same time, he said goodbye to me. "We're starting right." The owner showed me the way. The bald head heard the words. Immediately, like a frightened bird, shook his head again and again. No. The ghosts inside kill men. Immediately, the bald head broke free from Lin Mo's hand and fled in a hurry. As a child, I must not go in. Just go in. I'm going to get you money. And Lin Mo looked at the back of the bald boss. I couldn't help but squint my eyes and say this boss. It doesn't feel right. And Chio turned around directly and said, "I guess I'm afraid." Then the two came to the door of the swimming pool. Chio said a little impatiently, "Can't wait any longer. Wait a little longer. It's time for someone from Lin Feng Academy to come. Go in, man." In order to deal with an unknown ghost who specializes in hunting men. Actually took Chio to disguise himself as a woman. Attempt to restrain from this. But who expected? The owner of the swimming pool, who was afraid of death, refused to lead the way for the two. Suzuki, though, thinks that boss is eccentric. But time is of the essence. He had no choice but to go with Achio to complete the task first. Meanwhile, one in the swimming pool is dressed in casual attire. The sweet-looking female anchor is holding her mobile phone. Say goodbye to the screen, brothers. I'm at the Blue Star swimming pool. And the female anchor didn't forget to remind. Everyone please give a thumbs up. Take you to the scene of the crime. Suddenly, the barrage in the live broadcast room immediately exploded. The anchor is also too bold. Doesn't it mean that there have been 12 murders here? It is worthy of being the first shark. Outdoor play is all about thrills and thrills. And yet at this moment, Lin Mo and Achio also walked into the swimming pool. After seeing the figure of the female anchor, the two couldn't help but stop. I was a little surprised and said what was going on. There were still people in there, and the figures of Lin Mo and Achio immediately appeared in the live broadcast room. In an instant, the barrage exploded again. These two women's crotches are wider than mine. These two are definitely women's clothing. The big guy is not me eating live. I understand. Gossip. Ghosts only kill men. So they wanted to get away with women's clothing. These two guys are so slippery. Just when the people who eat melons are having a good time. Suddenly, a gloomy wind blew. In strong winds, Lin Mo's skirt was immediately scraped up. Spit out the big pants inside. In the shocked expression on Achio's face, Lin Mo, who is a women's clothing boss, immediately, he subconsciously let out an exclamation. Make a dance skirt move. The live broadcast room of the female anchor was blown up by Lin Mo's operation in an instant. What I saw, I'm going to wash my eyes. The special big man lifts the skirt. I'm going to get a needle's eye. Oops, the mentality collapsed. It's so sick to my stomach. Suddenly, the system voice in Lin Mo's mind. It rang out like crazy. Earn 5 to 10 points at a time. And it goes on and on. I can't stop it all. Lin Mo couldn't help but freeze in place when he heard this. He couldn't help but muttered strangely. Where did you get the points for breaking defense? Then Lin Mo didn't think much about it. So he asked the girl who you are. What are you doing here? And the female anchor held the mobile phone and laughed. Explain hello too. I'm Sweetheart. I'm doing a horror live broadcast. And Lin Mo and Achio heard that each other was doing a live broadcast. Immediately, his face changed dramatically. You're on the air. Isn't that our women's clothing? It was seen by tens of thousands of netizens. Oops, no, it's a shame to lose a lot of hair. Meanwhile, the black chubby who is in the classroom is bored. Just use your mobile phone to swipe the beauty live broadcast. I just happened to brush up on the most popular Sweetheart live broadcast room. The black chubby immediately laughed like crazy. Then he took his mobile phone and said to the slot, Didn't Lin Mo and Achio say that they were going to cheat? Why did you start a live broadcast of women's clothing? Ha, headmaster, come and see. Zhai Fengguinian immediately closed the textbook. Then he stepped off the podium. Let's take a look. Immediately his face. The color darkened instantly. Immediately afterwards, Zhai Feng slapped the table with disgust. Said sharply that you need to pretend to be a woman to catch a ghost. Oh man who has lost my ghost king. If only it would be known by those who are in the way. Don't laugh off your big teeth yet. Immediately, Zhai Feng turned around towards Mu Wanqing, who was processing information for herself. Commanded Xiaoqing, the file doesn't have to be processed. Hurry up and help these two shameful things. Mu Wanqing heard this. Hurriedly nodded in response. Master then. He quickly put down the information in his hand. Kick your feet. He jumped on the ledge. Then Mu Wanqing suddenly turned around and said, Yes. Chubby Jr., remember to send me the live broadcast room. And the black little fat heard this. Nodded hurriedly. Means no problem. Then Mu Wanqing summoned a vampire. Then he jumped out of the office. Fly directly to Lingling City. Meanwhile, Lin Mu and Achio only felt it now. The whole swimming pool is cloudy and windy. The situation is no longer right. Lin Mu looked at the pale, red devil cry that floated out in all directions. I couldn't help twitching the corners of my mouth. It looks like it's coming. It seems that he has not hidden the eyes of the ghost after all. And Achio couldn't help but look pale. Then he warned us to be careful. Judging by Devil May Cry, it's a lot stronger than ordinary beginner evil spirits. As soon as the words fell, the sound of whirring suddenly sounded above the heads of the two. Lin Mo immediately looked up. Immediately, his pupils shrank in shock. Followed by, he hurriedly shouted at Achio to be careful. It's right up there. I saw only 3 ghosts. Appeared above the ceiling of the swimming pool. 3 female ghosts are dismantled in capes. His clothes were also in tatters. The ghost aura they bring is very strong. Lin Mo couldn't help but feel a chill behind him. Before Lin Mo and Achio could make a move, one of the female ghosts was the first to move. After a sudden roar, immediately flew down towards the 2 of them. The 2 men were disguised, though, but he can't hide from the ghost's eyes. This is followed by 3 ghosts. Suddenly appeared above the ceiling of the swimming pool. The ghost aura brought by the 3 female ghosts is very strong. Immediately, the 2 of them felt a chill in their backs. Before the 2 could react, the female ghost immediately pounced on the 2. Meanwhile, Sweetheart has been hiding behind a jumping platform, recording the appearance of female ghosts with mobile phones. And the whole process of besieging Lin Mo. Look at the situation in front of you. Tianxin couldn't help but say yes in surprise. The 3 ghosts didn't seem to be doing anything to me. Suddenly, the popularity of the live broadcast room has reached its peak. After all, it's not uncommon to see ghosts up close. And Tianxin was even more excited to say brothers again. In the end, can these 2 bigwigs win? Voting begins. Immediately, the barrage in the live broadcast room boiled. Finished. At most, these 2 little brothers will meet ghosts and masters. Meet 3 fierce ghosts here. It is specified that it is going to be landed into a box. On the same floor, this place can only come at noon. Sooner or later, we have to go. But Lin Mo and the others didn't know anything about it. The 2 of them at this time, already with a solemn face. Be wary of the 3 ghosts in front of you. The result vote is obvious. 98% of netizens think that Lin Mo and the others will fail miserably. That's when it happened. The 3 female ghosts began to move violently. It seems that they have a strong grudge against men. It's obviously a primary evil spirit. The momentum exuded was not much weaker than that of the evil spirit. Just when the female ghost was about to pounce on Lin Mo, Sweetheart suddenly shouted, "Let's look forward to the strength of the 2 bigwigs." As soon as the words fell, several crimson devil cries suddenly swept out of the female ghost, quickly shrouded the 2 of them. Suzuki didn't dare to slack off. "Move your hands quickly. Send the ghost's sword directly." Then it burst out. There was a roar. The ghostly aura emitted by the ghost sword. Immediately, the scarlet ghost chi was steadily blocked. Powerful impact. But it made Lin Mo hesitate. "I almost fell and ate." Lin Mo frowned suddenly. Asked the bloodline ghost how they were so strong. Bloodline ghost Wen Yin hurriedly explained. It is a ghost formed by the strong obsession and resentment of the obsession ghost. They are obsessed with the area where they are, when targeting people or ghosts who are attached to their obsessions. Their combat power will soar like crazy. After Lin Mo listened to the explanation, the brow tightened again. Check it out now. The swimming pool is the area they are obsessed with. Men are the ones who fit their obsessions. But what is it that triggers their obsession? That's when it happened. Achio quickly took out the razor from his lower back. Cut off the Devil May Cry that came to you. Then he yelled and said, "Don't care so much about it for now. You can only try to get your hands dirty. If you can't beat it, we'll find a way to withdraw." Lin Mo, who was interrupted from his thoughts, 2 fingers quickly slid on his left arm. 5 full-fledged ghosts. He was summoned immediately. Quickly besieged the 3 female ghosts. And yet at this moment, The three obsessive ghosts let out bursts of sharp screams. Oops man, daman. Suddenly, there was a ghostly cyclone. It burst out from the three obsession ghosts. In an instant, it enveloped the two of them, although the two used psychic blocks. But the Een wind still penetrated it. Scraping on Lin Mo's skin is like scrubbing and rubbing. Lin Mo saw that this was not good. Immediately, his blood pupils widened. Then looked towards the location of the obsession ghost. Decisively used the blood curse skill. 10 seconds is fleeting. 3 explosions rang out suddenly. The 3 obsessive ghosts were hit hard at the same time. The thick ghost aura on his body. It was immediately blown up and scattered. But in the blink of an eye, the 3 obsessive ghosts stopped howling. Let the ghosts gather again. They didn't seem to be hurt much. Lin Mo saw this. I couldn't help but be shocked. Here's what's going on. The blood curse didn't seem to hit them hard. The realm bronze ghost immediately said solemnly, 4 obsessive people and ghosts. They have a lot of damage reduction. Lin Mo heard this. I can't help but feel the pressure increase dramatically. It's also too tricky. Combat power soars and damage is reduced. How to play this? I knew that it would be good to wait for Mu Wanqing to arrive. That's when it happened. Lin Mo suddenly felt that his eyes were dark. I can't even hear the sound in my ears. When Lin Mo opened his eyes again, the 3 obsessive ghosts that were originally crawling not far away. But suddenly it became 2. His heart tightened. How is there one missing? Just when Lin Mo felt terrified, suddenly there was a clattering sound above his head. Droplets of water kept dripping down his body. Just when Lin Mo wanted to look up, the obsession ghost grabbed the wig on his head. Then he showed a hideous look. The government looked tentatively at him. Immediately, Lin Mo was ready to move his body and run. But he found out, I don't know when, hair growing from underfoot. The hair is exceptionally strong and resilient, already firmly wrapped around his limbs. It's not just him who has this situation. His 3 contract ghosts are also tangled in their hair. Even the most powerful chainsaw ghost, unable to get rid of the shackles of hair. Even Achio is the same fierce opponent. Immobile. See this. The bloodline ghost hurriedly spoke. This is the imprisoning technique produced by the obsession ghost. All the men and ghosts present were arrested. The man came up, summoned 5 contract ghosts to surround the obsession ghosts. But who would have thought that those 3 obsessive ghosts could not only reduce injuries? And as long as a man is present, combat power will be soared. In the blink of an eye, obsessed with the ghost's strong and resilient hair. It firmly entangled Lin Mo's 4. Even his 3 contract ghosts are tangled in their hair. Even the most powerful chainsaw ghost, unable to get rid of the shackles of hair. This is the unique imprisoning technique of obsessive ghosts. You can put a certain range of men and male ghosts. It's all under control. Lin Mo saw this. Suddenly my heart was in a hurry. Hurriedly asked the bloodline ghost, is there a way for you to uncontrol? And the blood pupil ghost said helplessly, it needs to be used for a split second when it is controlled. It's too late now. Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help but grit my teeth. But think about it. Although the male ghost was controlled, don't you still have 2 female ghosts? One thought of this. Lin Mo hurriedly opened his mouth and shouted, a fierce ghost. Ghost Flower Dangwa, come and help me untie the hair on my body. 2 demons are ordained. Immediately rushed towards him. But after the obsession, ghost discovers the abnormal movement. Immediately showed a fierce light. Yelled at Lin Mo and got up the women's gang. Men are not allowed. As soon as the words fell, the obsessive ghost suddenly kicked under his feet. Leaped to his feet. A shrill roar followed. Kill this stinky man. Immediately comb. Hair burst out of the back of his head. The tip of the head is extremely sharp. It swept out like a bayonet with a sharp handle. The target of the attack was Lin Mo. He was tied up and completely unable to move. Immediately, he was reduced to a lamb to the slaughter. In the blink of an eye, his bayonet-like hair curled up. A sound of breaking the air stabbed straight into Lin Mo's chest. Seeing that the hair is going to pierce the body, Lin Mo suddenly turned around staring at the obsession ghost with blood and brass rage. Activate the skill blood realm at the same time. At the moment when he looked at Lin Mo, the female ghost's expression suddenly unified. At the same time, he entered the illusion. Lin Mo knew this doesn't do much harm to the obsessive ghost. He can only pause his movements. It's just a matter of delaying time. Immediately, he shouted and started quickly. "You two hurry up." The hair was cut. As soon as the words fell, Ghost Wadan quickly took out the knife from his waist, cutting his hair hard. But this hair is surprisingly strong. There are only slight scratches when you go down. Lin Mo saw that his hair would be cut for a while. He couldn't help but feel a pang in his heart. The dark passage is terrible. This will not work. It's too slow, and the illusion is coming to an end. Can't waste time on your hair. Fight to the death. Maybe it can be brought back to life. Come to think of this, Lin Mo made a decision immediately. Commanded to the ghost flower and the big murderer, leave it alone. I'll solve the ontology of the three ghosts first. The two ghosts were ordered. Use your skills decisively. Ghost Flower Dan took the lead in chanting quickly. This increases the sensitivity and attack power of the big-breasted ghost. And big-breasted ghosts don't dare to waste time. Pluck the strings quickly in your hands. Continuous use of Sanskrit sounds to call for life and linger sounds. Suddenly, the obsession ghost was suppressed by the piano sound of the big-breasted ghost. Caught in control. There is no way to take Lin Mo for a while. Meanwhile, the anchor's sweetheart hid to the sidelines and watched thrillingly. His face was full of excitement, and he shouted, "Wow. Look down on this little brother." Directly summoned 5 fully embodied ghosts. And the rarity of these 5 ghosts is also very high. The grave was over, and the live broadcast room is even more crowded. It's a pity that netizens have discussed it. If you encounter ordinary evil spirits, you may have a fight. It's bad luck to meet an obsessive ghost who specializes in killing men. There are also some netizens who are optimistic about Brother Suzuki. Aren't there 2 female contract ghosts? Maybe you can resist a bit. Yellow stew. The 2.5-year-old chicken scoffed at this and thought too much. This obsession ghost. Just don't take the initiative to do it to women and female ghosts. That doesn't mean they won't do it. You think there are 2 auxiliary female ghosts who are fierce and auspicious. Can it be the opponent of the 3 evil spirits, obsessed ghosts? It seems that today's rap. I don't have a chance to perform. He, the little chubby, is unfathomable. I don't think so. I think the little brother still has a backhand. Just hold on. Reinforcements will arrive soon. Sure enough, the attack of the great devil and the ghost flower. It didn't have much effect. And the state of control. It's time to lift it soon. Looking at the resentful eyes of the obsessive ghost, Lin Mo couldn't help but tremble in his heart. It's illusion time. The obsession ghost is about to start fighting back. The next moment, the obsessive ghost of regaining freedom waved his hand violently. Bayonet-like hair shot out again. However, this time the target was not Lin Mo. Immediately, there was a wail of the great fierce ghost and the ghost flower Dan. The 2 auxiliary ghost girls are just one face. Was whipped out by the obsessive ghost with his hair. And the obsessive ghost was already even more furious at this time. The ghostly aura on his body rippled wildly. The hair is scattered, danced wildly in the Yin wind, swept towards Lin Mo again. Lin Mo was also the first time he had encountered such a big grudge. He couldn't help but get goosebumps. Secretly complained in his heart. What a hatred this must be. Now, there's only one way. Immediately, Lin Mo moved his mind, manipulating ghouls to use corpse control skills. He felt that although the obsession ghost had a confinement technique, but as long as you summon a few hundred zombies at once. He didn't believe he could control it, although the ghoul is tangled in his hair. But manipulating the corpse only requires him to use his mind. You can do it even without moving. In an instant, a large number of imprints appeared in the swimming pool. More than 200 zombies quickly sprang out of the mark. And these zombies, after they appeared, immediately, they rushed towards the obsession ghost. And these zombies only have ghosts and strength. There's no way to do harm to the obsession, often obsessed with a random attack of ghosts. You can knock the zombies directly away. At this time, the obsessive ghost had no chance to attack Lin Mo. A large number of zombies have surrounded them, and the irritated obsession ghost can only manipulate tough hair. Rapid clarance. There are just too many zombies. More and more zombies dragged themselves forward. The obsessive ghost was immediately surrounded by water, and the zombie hordes flew at them like mad dogs. Zombies keep appearing. One by one, they crawled to the ground and pounced on the obsessive ghost. Just a moment's work. 3 obsessive ghosts were thrown to the ground by the zombie horde. Was frantically bitten by zombies. Lin Mo's tactics of the sea of corpses were successful. The man was beaten by the obsessive ghost and had no power to fight back. Even the 2 auxiliary contract ghosts who were not bound. It was also directly pumped between the 2 sides. I saw that I was going to die at the hands of obsessive ghosts. He hurriedly manipulated the ghouls to use corpse control skills, although these zombies are only at the level of ghosts. But it's a matter of numbers. There are enough of them, one after another, towards the obsessive ghost. Just a moment's work. Lin Mo's tactics of the sea of corpses successfully suppressed the 3 obsessive ghosts. Lin Mo saw that the situation had turned around. I can't help but breathe a sigh of relief in my heart. Although the obsessive ghost has a confinement technique, but it is impossible for so many zombies to be controlled. It seems that contract raising ghouls is right. These zombies can really be good meat shields at critical moments. And the obsession ghost that is crushed underneath. At this point, he was furious to the extreme. I can't wait to tear Lin Mo apart directly. Immediately, the obsessive ghost suddenly got up. Let out a hoarse roar. Don't come near me. Immediately, the ghost chi on his body surged out. A powerful thrust erupted. Seeing this, Lin Mo's heart immediately tightened. The mind ghost deals with the siege of zombies. It consumes a lot of ghost energy. The hair has come loose. Drag it out and win. Immediately, he hurriedly shouted at the looking ghost. Keep calling. Watch as a large number of zombies are wiped out. Looking up at the ghost, I was already distressed, and I was about to shed tears. After hearing Lin Mo's order, he immediately showed an expression of heartache that was dripping blood. He hesitated. Lin Mo saw this, immediately understood the encouragement to look up at the ghost. He hurriedly opened his mouth to say goodbye to his frustration. I'll get you 1,000 to make it up when I get out. And raising ghouls is at ease. Concentrate on controlling the zombies' attacks. Meanwhile, the anchor's sweetheart was already pale with fright. There are a lot of zombies in the difficult road. It's scary. Do you think the women's clothing brother will win? It was the first time he had encountered so many zombies head-on. A lot of zombies walked past him. The terrifying aura was suffocating to him. As soon as this remark came out, the barrage exploded instantly. At most, these zombies are at the level of ghosts. It's only a matter of time before the obsessive ghosts destroy them. The little brother in women's clothing is obviously stalling for time. But in the end, it's still hard. To avoid death, the black little fat replied, How do you want others to die? It's really bad luck at this time. A clear voice came from the doorway. Who is bullying my little brother? Sweetheart heard. I couldn't help but take my phone and turn around and look behind me. Immediately, there was a click. I saw a pair of black high heels. Be the first to catch the eyes of sweethearts. A group of netizens after seeing Mu Wanqing. I immediately started to get excited. This looked this tall figure. Models can't compare. His name is Little Brother. If it's a junior and a disciple, then they are a school. Can anyone tell me which school they are? I'm going to apply for the exam in my 3rd year of high school next year. The black little chubby immediately replied. I share them with the school. Call Daddy and tell you. And Lin Mo and Achio Wensheng hurriedly turned around. Looked towards Mu Wanqing. The colleague shouted, Senior sister, come and save us. The two who were bound saw the savior arrive. Immediately breathed a sigh of relief. And Mu Wanqing shook her white wrist. A slight smile came and went. Mu Wanqing's eyes lit up. Then he summoned all 3 of his own ghosts at the same time. The next moment, the glowing green ghost of the prison was the first to land. The vampire is suspended in midair. The headless ghost carried the sledgehammer, standing behind Mu Wanqing. No command required. Headless ghost footsteps. Rush directly to the front. Then hold it high. The hammer in his hand fell suddenly. This hammer goes down. Fly out of the 3 obsession ghost formations directly. At the same time, several zombies were also smashed. Lin Mo saw this. Hurriedly shouted at Mu Wanqing, sister corpse. Zombies of their own. Don't hurt yourself. Mu Wanqing heard this. I couldn't help but hesitate. Then he walked towards Lin Mo. At the same time, I was surprised. Did you contract a ghoul again? Really envious. Why don't I have so many contract caps? Meanwhile, a clump of long hair poked out from the back of the headless ghost and quickly wrapped around his body. Put the headless ghost's muscular body. Wrap it tightly. Lin Mo saw this. Hurriedly reminded senior sister Dao. Beware of these 3 obsessive ghosts. Mu Wanqing, who was imprisoned and controlled, heard the sound. But he just chuckled. That's it. And he snapped his fingers lightly. Then the red eyes on the headless ghost. It suddenly emitted an eerie red light. Subsequently, the headless ghost erupted into a loud roar. I saw a scarlet color appear on his body. The hair attached to his body. They were all shattered. Lin Mo saw that the headless ghost was so relaxed. It's out of control. I couldn't help but be surprised to the senior sister. Why can't I get rid of the control of the obsession ghost? And you can. Mu Wanqing heard this. I couldn't help but giggle. Then lightly explained that headless ghosts have no heads. Even the epidermis is covered with a layer of scale armor. Immunity to all illusion skills. And after unleashing the ultimate, can ignore control skills. Also increases lifesteal by 20%. After Lin Mo listened to the explanation, I couldn't help but open my mouth in shock. Then he was secretly shocked in his heart, ignoring the illusion. Ignore controls. Senpai's level is far more powerful than I predicted. Meanwhile, 3 obsessive ghost swords are ineffective in control. Chose to besiege the headless ghosts together. Time. Dense hair flew in from all directions. Tie the headless ghost's hands firmly. The hair of the obsessive ghost is sometimes like a knife, sometimes like a needle. A fierce offensive was launched. Although headless ghosts are high-level evil spirits. But this area belongs to the obsession zone of the obsession ghost. For a while it fell into disadvantage. Lin Mo, who was in deep crisis, finally waited for Mu Wanqing's arrival. And Mu Wanqing began to summon contract ghosts as soon as he came up. A vampire of all levels of high-level evil spirits. The headless ghost suddenly boomed. A headless ghost who landed and was besieged. It is possible to ignore illusions and ignore controls, seeing that the control skill is ineffective. The obsessive ghost hurriedly joined forces to trap the headless ghost's hands. Then start the offensive with your hair. Lin Mo saw this. Hurriedly said to Mu Wanqing, senior sister, hurry up and help me get a cut. I'll help you fight them together. Mu Wanqing frowned slightly. Whispered, the headless ghost could only uncontrol itself. A systematisch in de controlling. I don't have it. Immediately afterwards, Mu Wanqing waved her hand violently, motioning for the vampire to come up and help. At the same time, his crisp laughter was heard. But it doesn't matter. As long as you can kill them, the pain will be relieved naturally. As soon as the words fell, the vampire flew to the ceiling of the swimming pool, then started spinning quickly. At the same time, it urged the majestic pitch-black ghost chi in the body. Then there was a whistling in the air. The vampire, which was spinning rapidly, suddenly took a sharp turn. It was like a tornado that quickly pressed down. Hurricane bites. This is a move with extremely high physical damage. Meanwhile, the headless ghost that had been suppressed suddenly trembled. Then take the sledgehammer again. Jumped, bombarded towards the obsessive ghost not far away. Besieged up and down, the obsessive ghost immediately showed an ugly face. And then, they decisively began to shrink the hair flying out of their heads. Followed by, the three obsessive ghosts made a sound at the same time to dodge. Then the three obsession ghosts sprinted forward at the same time. Dodge vampire attacks. Mu Wanqing saw this, but there was a smile on his face. At the same time, he raised the hand that was turning over the green leaves. It's not over yet. Nether prison. As soon as the words fell, a cloud of green ghost chi quickly condensed in the air. A sturdy small cage was formed, the location where the cage appears. It just so happened to be after the three obsessive ghosts dodged the attack. Where to stay? Looking at the cage. Fall quickly. The obsessive ghost suddenly screamed. It's not good. A warden who has been lurking in the sky all the time. Hearing this, he immediately let out a smug laugh. After all, he was Mu Wanqing's subordinate, the only ghost girl with control skills. And yet at this moment, the moment when the cage is about to land, the obsessive ghost in the outermost part, but suddenly he stepped on it, ran out of the range of the cage. And the warden saw that the beaked duck actually flew. Immediately look at it, tightly locked onto the fish that slipped through the net. Then the warden suddenly stretched out his hand to the obsessional ghost. A condensed group of green, ghostly energy. Chains with rivets. Shoot out in an instant. Prison ghost. Accurately predicted the direction of the obsession ghost's escape. The rivet instantly pierces the ghost body of the obsessive ghost. Grab him directly. Immediately after that, the warden shook his hand hard. The last obsession. Immediately, he was thrown into the nether prison. Three obsessive ghosts. Three obsessive ghosts, after a short confrontation, was caught by Mu Wanqing. Suddenly, they were humming inside the cage. You're a woman who actually helps men. It's stupid. And the hair on Lin Mo and Achio and the ghosts. And all of them were scattered. It's finally out of control. After the forest is freed, I can't help but shout wonderful. He couldn't help but say in his heart, headless ghosts and vampires. Force the obsession ghost into the range of the prison ghost skills. It's all in one place. Senpai's delicate and skillful skills combined. It's like a textbook. The obsessive ghost who was locked in the prison at this time. It's like a mentally ill person in custody. Put your hand out of the fence from time to time. Hold on weakly. And Lin Mo was holding a ghost sword. Walked to the side of the cell. Silently said yes. I'm going to send you on your way. And the nether cage. Completely suppressed the obsessive ghost Devil May Cry. Their original faces were immediately revealed. At first glance, it looks good. Proper beauty. Looked at Lin Mo walking with a sword. The obsessive ghost immediately lost control and shouted, I am not reconciled. I am not reconciled. Obviously, we were killed by men. Why punish us? And Lin Mo heard this. I couldn't help frowning, but he didn't want to be verbose anymore. Lift the ghost sword and prepare to kill them. That's when it happened. The most beautiful-looking obsessive ghost. Suddenly, he said, wait. Subsequently, the obsessive ghost suddenly showed a pitiful appearance. Pray before you kill us. We'd like to ask you a favor. Lin Mo saw this. The movement in the hand can't help but throw. Then shouted that I was human. You're a ghost. Why should I help you? And the obsessive ghost hurriedly responded. I can tell you a secret. He just finished speaking. Another obsessive ghost next to him immediately objected. You ask him for help. Men don't have a good thing. And the beautiful obsessive ghost gritted his teeth. Ignore your partner's obstruction. Then he suddenly shouted hysterically. We're all one to die anyway. As long as you can get revenge, I'm willing to do anything. And Lin Mo saw this. I can't help but be a little curious. Look at the appearance of the obsessive ghost. It seems that I really know some great secret. Immediately, Lin Mo asked tentatively, let's talk about it first. What do you want me to help you with? Beautiful obsession, Ghost Wenyan immediately gritted his teeth and recalled. The man who killed the three of us. It's the owner of this swimming pool. The female ghost after being suppressed and devil may cry. And a beautiful appearance. But Lin Mo picked up the ghost sword. I'm going to give her a result. And the female ghost ignored the obstruction of her companions. Begged Lin Mo to help her take revenge. And indicated, you can exchange a secret for yourself. Lin Mo saw a female ghost. Seems to know some great secrets. So let her say what she wanted to do for her help. And the female ghost saw Lin Mo agree. Immediately fell into painful memories. Then he gritted his teeth and replied, remembering the man who killed the three of us. It's the owner of this swimming pool. 3 months ago, Shad Boss and Cleaner molested a single girl swimming in the pool. In the end, the girl was tortured to death. It was also faked as a drowning death. With the first experience, the boss is getting bolder. 2 of the female ghosts were among the victims. And the pretty female ghost spoke again about me as a journalist. I found the clues. After on-site forensics, there is enough evidence in hand. The truth was finally ascertained. The evidence was presented to the security service. But the agent sent by the security service was the boss's own brother. Speaking of which, the hand of the beautiful female ghost immediately clenched the cage in anger. He spoke again to confront the 2 agents and the boss. In the end, I couldn't escape my fate, because the 3 of us have a deep grudge. As a result, the soul has not dissipated. Finally encounter a ghost. Crying turned into an obsessive ghost. Just turned into a ghost. We killed the man who had bullied us. Followed by, the beautiful female ghost showed an extremely angry look. Speak again, except for the bald head. Count him lucky. He happened to be away that day. He is a thief with a weak heart. After that, I didn't enter the swimming pool half a step again. We can only move around in areas inside the swimming pool. So there's no way to take him. Timo, after listening, I couldn't help but touch my chin. I understand it. You're trying to get me to bring in the boss. And then take revenge on you. 3 obsessive ghosts heard the words. Hurriedly nodded frantically. The angry one said yes. Why did we die so miserably? And the boss is still alive and well. We are not reconciled. Achio, who was listening from the sidelines, was suddenly furious. The Department of Provincial Safety is really not a thing. Mu Wanqing also showed an angry look. Angrily scolded, that boss is really damned. Beasts are inferior. And the netizens in the live broadcast room are also angry. Didn't expect the security service. People are such bastards. So I've always trusted them. I thought they were our safeguards. Such a sloppy life. If you hadn't seen it with your own eyes. I couldn't believe it. The age of the 3 young ladies is like a jade. Was brutally murdered. I was so angry that my heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys hurt. And Lin Mo was thinking for a moment. Said to the female ghost that this is not difficult. But I want to know the secret you were talking about. See if it's worth it. Beautiful obsession with ghosts. Immediately whispered to Lin Mo 3 days later. 10 p.m. The ghost jade of Nanshan will break through from all sides, trying to smash the defense line of the Zhou military. Break out. Lin Mo and the 3 of them heard this. After hearing the news, immediately the expression was the same. Then a serious expression appeared. The beautiful obsessive ghost paused. Continue to speak. The number 3 ghost in the Namsan ghost domain will pass by the north side of Lingling City with 10,000 ghosts. There are at least 20,000 natives over there, and more than 5,000 demon fishermen. They certainly didn't have time to retreat. It's all going to be dead, and the mad fishermen are dead. For Zhou Gua, it is not painful or itchy. But they certainly don't want to see the indigenous population die a tragic death. After listening to this shocking intelligence, Lin Mo couldn't help but think secretly in his heart. The master said that Zhou Gua sealed the fishermen, placed on the outer side of the city as a meat shield. When the 10,000 ghosts are crossing, they weren't the first to die. The obsessive ghost saw that Lin Mo remained silent after listening. I couldn't help but say anxiously, "Just tell the NSA the news. It's definitely a first achievement. How can this secret be enough for you to help me?" And Lin Mo heard it. He looked at the obsessive ghost and nodded, and said with a smile, "Your news is good. I promise to bring the boss in for you." Then Lin Mo couldn't help but clench the ghost sword in his hand. In my heart, I secretly decided to haunt the hare this time. I'm going to absolutely have to make a shot. But he was not for the residents of Zhou. It's for those 5,000 mad fishermen struggling to survive on the outskirts of the city. The man unexpectedly learned that the Nanshan prison would break through from all sides, trying to smash the defense line of the Zhou military. Break out. Among them, the number 3 ghost of Nanshan's strange encounter will pass by the north side of Lingling City with 10,000 ghosts. There are at least 20,000 natives over there, and more than 5,000 demon fishermen. Lin Mo knew. Zhou Bo placed the demon sealing fishermen outside the city. When the meat shield of 10,000 ghosts crosses, they were the first to die. Immediately, Lin Mo secretly decided, this time the haunt's nest. He's definitely going to help those demon-sealed fishermen. Subsequently, Lin Mo and Achio took off the women's clothes on their bodies, and then very neatly changed back into your own clothes. Then Lin Mo said to Mu Wanqing, senior sister, "I'm going to bring the boss in." Mu Wanqing heard this, immediately nodded, resolutely agree to say yes. "Even if you don't do it, I want to kill him too." Achio saw this. I couldn't help but ask in surprise, "Wait, Lin Mo, do you want to kill him with your own hands?" And Lin Mo shook his head. With an indifferent face, he said that there is a debtor and a debtor. That boss is the culprit. Of course, it's left to them to do it themselves. I'm just going to bring him in. In this way, you and I are not breaking the law. The security service can't do anything to us. Akiu Wenyan's eyes lit up instantly. Response: "That's a good note." Then Lin Mo said to Mu Wanqing, "Of course, the two of us are not enough. It also needs the cooperation of the senior sister." Mu Wanqing smiled slightly. "Means it's just a piece of cake." Just while the bald head was waiting, suddenly, I saw Lin Mo and Achio walking out with a smile. At the same time, Lin Mo's laughter was heard. "Ha! These 3 ghosts are really difficult." Achio heard this, immediately waved his hand proudly, and said, "So what? It's not our present soul yet." And Lin Mo, weighing the 3 demonic ghost beads in his hand, a smile crossed his lips. "Rong ha ha ha! What a good harvest today." Immediately, the bald head will be in the hand of Huazi. Thrown on the ground, he's far away. Watch the 2 of them come out of the swimming pool. Immediately stood up excitedly. Said excitedly to the 2 little brothers, "Are the ghosts all solved?" Suzuki heard this, immediately smiled, and picked up the 3 ghost beads in his hand. "Of course," he said, "these 3 evil spirits and ghost beads were just captured. It's still fresh." The bald head heard the words, immediately laughed excitedly. "That's great." And Lin Mo hurriedly walked to the bald head. "Reach out and ask the boss. Let's talk about good money." As soon as the bald head heard this, immediately I was not happy. He said something anxious with some vigilance. in case the ghost is not dead. It's not cheap for you guys. Lin Mo heard this. Immediately, an inexplicable smile appeared. Then you can go in and have a look. And the bald head had just walked a few steps to the door. I was frightened by the eerie aura inside. Stopped. The bald head immediately felt comfortable. I didn't dare to go in. The bald head stood in the doorway for a long time. Suddenly, he turned his head and said to Lin Mo and the two, "You two go in first and I'll take a look." Achio heard this, immediately sneered twice, then walked towards the swimming pool. At the same time, wave your hand and look at you, a big man. Such a little guts. And Lin Mo couldn't help but glance at him with disdain. Don't insult women. He's less guts than a mouse. The humiliated bald head suddenly turned gloomy. I muttered in my heart, "You two, wait for me." Then the two walked into the swimming pool again. Nothing out of the ordinary. And the bald head followed behind, looking cautiously all the way. Soon the three of them walked to the depths of the swimming pool. The bald head looks left and right. Sure enough, no ghost was found. The bald head immediately laughed comfortably. Finally collected the three harms. Picked it up, ha-ha. That's when it happened. Lin Mo had a flattering smile on his face. Remind the boss. 100,000 per person. Don't forget to give it to us. The bald Wenyan immediately put away his smile. Hung Mei said coldly, and he still wanted money. Today's young people are too greedy. I also want to take money at both ends. Believe it or not, the security service sued you. Go to your school. Lin Wenyan couldn't help but secretly complain in his heart. As expected, it's a scumbag. Immediately, he grinned and sneered, "Since you don't give money, we won't deal with that ghost." As soon as I heard this, a layer of cold sweat suddenly broke out on the top of the bald head. Exclaimed, "What the hell? Haven't killed it yet." Immediately, the bald head retreated again and again. He shouted in disbelief, "You two lied to me. The ghost is not dead." And Achio heard this. Immediately retreat. Distance. Then he grinned and said, "Didn't you lie to us too?" Lin Mo shook his head. Also quickly pull away. Then he shouted with a cold face. In order to help the female ghost take revenge, the bald boss was introduced into the swimming pool. Then Lin Mo shouted with a cold face. As soon as the words fell, a nether cage that has been hiding in the shadows. It was knocked open with a thud. 3 obsessive ghosts immediately flew out of it, and the bald head had no idea what you were doing back. And yet at this moment, the obsessive ghost let out a roar full of resentment. "You've done us so badly. I want you to pay for your life today." The bald boss watched as the 3 ghosts pounced on him. Immediately, there was a sharp wail, and the speed of the obsession ghost is extremely fast. The bald head simply didn't have time to escape. The obsession ghost had already pounced on him. Immediately after that, the hair on the obsession ghost swept out. It quickly spread towards the bald head. The bald head couldn't even shout the word help. It was tightly tied by the hair. Immediately afterwards, the obsessive ghost shook his head violently. The glowing head was thrown into the pool. The bald head is so entangled in hair that he can't move. At the moment of falling into the water, immediately, I secretly said in my heart that something was wrong. It's the end of it. Before the bald head came to his senses, a cold voice suddenly came from behind him. "Your time of death has come." Immediately, the bald head struggled desperately, rushed out of the water, and shouted. Lin Mo said that he did not receive the money. "Forgive the man for his fate." Immediately, the bald head shouted that I had money. "I bought this gold watch for 700,000 yuan. Save me, and the watch will be given to you." The system immediately sounded a prompt. "Congratulations to the host for earning 100 points for breaking defense." And Lin Mo. I saw that the bald boss actually threw away the gold watch. Immediately smiled slightly. "Catch the gold watch." Then Lin Mo chuckled. I wiped the gold watch with my hand. Then he sneered and said that you are stupid. "If you die, this watch is not mine." The bald head heard the words. Instant mental explosion. Then he shouted at the bastard as hard as he could. You're in cahoots with ghosts. You have committed a felony. You will be sentenced by the security service. Immediately, the system sounded a prompt. Congratulations to the host for earning 300 points for breaking defense. Suzuki heard this. Immediately said with an innocent face, Am I colluding with the ghost? No, Achio shook his head. Dao was attacked by wild ghosts when he walked into the swimming pool by himself. The bald head heard the words. Immediately yelled hoarsely, but waited for me to come in. You deliberately unleashed a ghost to kill me. It is also a felony. Lin Mo couldn't help but grin. Looked at Mu Wanqing. Asked senior sister Dao. Did you put it on purpose? And Mu Wanqing stood delicately beside the pillar. Responded with an oops. Just now my aura dried up. Only then did the 3 obsessive ghosts escape. I definitely didn't mean to. The bald Wenyin immediately scolded, Bastard. You're in cahoots with ghosts. Hurt me immediately. Lin Mo came to the swimming pool. The majestic cold voice with a disdainful face said, I warn you. Don't talk nonsense. Otherwise I will sue you for slander. I'll sue you for slander. As soon as the words fell, a system prompt sounded immediately. Congratulations to the host for earning 500 points for breaking defense. Then Lin Mo quickly got up, picked up the ghost sword, shouted loudly towards Achio and Mu Wanqing and, Who said we hurt you? Senior sister Akio. Let's save people. Immediately, Lin Mo took the lead in lifting the ghost sword and rushed forward. Then he yelled as hard as he could. Damn it. Fight with you. It's just that the 3 of them just rushed to the pool. There was a strange cry of oops. Then the 3 of them shook for a while. Suddenly he fell backwards, and Lin Mo was lying on the ground. It looked like he was seriously injured. The fat brother paused and said, Oh, we can't beat it. The obsession ghost suddenly became so strong when he saw you. And Achio lay down more directly and stiffly. It's like it's really dead. Mu Wanqing came over, wiping the corners of his eyes and sobbing. These ghosts are amazing. Akio, you died so miserably. See this scenario. The barrage in the live broadcast room of Sweetheart exploded instantly. Ha died laughing. The Security Bureau stipulates that those who do not save the Ghost Master will be fined. But the little brother wanted to save. However, there is more than enough heart, but not enough strength. There's nothing wrong with that. Oscar owes them a trophy. Bald bosses don't have to be killed by ghosts. I guess I'm angry. Meanwhile, a bald boss who is strangled by his hair. At this point, he was powerless to struggle. Suddenly, the bald head let out a final roar of despair. I don't want to die. But his roar didn't help. The next second his body was torn to pieces by 3 obsessive ghosts. Immediately, the pool was stained red with ketchup. And Lin Mo and the 3 of them also stopped performing, looking at the 3 obsession ghosts. And after the bald head was killed, the obsession of the obsessive ghosts gradually began to fade. The ghost body began to become illusory before the force dissipates, revealing its own true nature. They immediately cast a grateful glance at Lin Mo. Soon the ghost body was reduced to ashes and scattered in the air. Only 3 ghost beads remained. Lin Mo hurriedly reached out to catch the ghost bead that fell from the sky. Then a satisfied smile appeared. An obsessive ghost who is full of resentment towards men. Before the force dissipates, he actually cast a grateful glance at Lin Mo. It's just because Lin Mo helped them clean up the culprit. Bald boss. Soon the ghost body was reduced to ashes and scattered in the air. Only 3 ghost beads remained. The Sweetheart anchor looked at the performance of Lin Mo and the others just now. I couldn't help but be excited and relieved. Good relief and punishment of scum. They are the light of the way. And yet at this moment, several students from Lin Feng Academy stepped in. The boy at the head immediately glared at Lin Mo, shouted, "What the hell are you? Dare to steal our mission?" Lin Mo noticed the movement coming from outside the door. He quickly turned around and looked behind him. Then Lin Mo looked around at Lin Feng's students. With a nonchalant face, he opened his mouth to grab the task. Reading people's business. How can you use the word robbery? Everyone is a ghost encounterer. You kill ghosts and I kill ghosts. Isn't it all about serving the people? An Wensheng, a student of Lin Feng Academy, was suddenly unhappy. Immediately shouted, dissatisfied, and blocked our mission. It's all so clever and colorful. 3 demon beads are worth a lot of money. The boy led by him took the lead in front of Lin Mo's eyes. If you know each other, you will know each other. Just hand over the ghost beads. Otherwise, you won't be able to get out of this swimming pool. Lin Mo saw this. Immediately raised an eyebrow. Then tap your arm. Summon all of your contract ghosts. At the same time sneered, do you want to fight? The boy at the head saw this. But with a hideous face, he snorted coldly and said that the 5 ghosts have good talents. But unfortunately, there were 10 of us. 8 double ghost masters. 2-3 re-encounter ghost masters. You can't eat it. Walk away. However, at this moment, there are 5 more ghost masters. Mu Wanqing, who was strong, suddenly walked up to Lin Mo. Asked, are you sure you want to fight us? The boy at the head heard the voice. Immediately looked at Mu Wanqing. Immediately, he felt a chill in his back. A 5-fold ghost master. It's not a problem to single out 5 or 6 of us. But it can't be admitted. Immediately, he shouted with a hard mouth. Who the hell are you? Lin Mu raised his eyebrows. The generous response to the Tao is not talented. Snow Phoenix grandson hair. This sudden commotion operation couldn't help but make Mu Wanqing stunned. He was originally going to sign up for the number. Also changed his words, Shui Feng, Sun Lily. The little quacks heard this. Immediately exclaimed. It turned out to be from Xiefeng's grandson's family. No wonder it's so arrogant. Son, I've heard of it. The top 10 people in Xiefeng's sophomore year. And the boy at the head stared at Lin Mo. Word by word, you have the Sun family as a backer. But I also have a backer. The task you snatched today. Chu Feng will definitely let you come back. After the music style left, Achio looked at their backs. Suddenly, he said, Chu Feng is a person from the Qing Feng Lu Chu family. Lin Mu heard this. I couldn't help but be a little puzzled. Is it a green building? Mu Wanqing heard this. I couldn't help but chuckle. Then she patted him on the shoulder. Explained that Qing Feng Lu is the #2 killer organization in Jiang province. Succumb to your 8 senior brothers' cold wind pavilion. Lin Mo heard this. Suddenly smiled. This is not simple. Qing Feng Lu dared to trouble me. I will break out the name of the 8th senior brother. Did they not dare to touch me? Mu Wanqing smiled mysteriously. Not necessarily. Lin Mo pouted and said stubbornly, I don't believe it. He didn't care if his brother suffered. With Mu Wanqing's vampire, Timo and Akiu never had to hurry anymore. 3 people sit on the back of a vampire. Fly straight to your next destination. And the anchor Tion Xin watched the 3 people fly away. Hurriedly rushed too. I shouted when I got out of the swimming pool. Where are you going? Subsequently, Tion Xin looked at the live broadcast room, whose popularity had dropped most of it. I can't help but feel a little sorry. It's a pity to follow them. It will definitely continue to explode. Subsequently, Tion Xin, who was unwilling, got on the bike again. He immediately made a secret decision. Be sure to find these 3. Let my live broadcast room explode again. Meanwhile, Lin Mo and the 3 of them are wantonly snatching tasks in Lingling City. They snatched several tasks one after another very quickly. Soon they were in the basement of Century City. At this time, the 2 ghouls were fighting inside. That's when it happened. Suddenly, there was a sound of footsteps in the basement. The 2 ghouls immediately turned to look. I saw 2 people rushing in from the outside. One person holds a ghost sword. One man holds a short knife. Before the ghoul could react, was directly killed by Lin Mo and Achio. and 5 students at the door looked at the 2 ghost beads in Lin Mo's hands. In an instant, he was furious. "Who are you? Actually robbed us of our mission. Look for death." And Lin Mo immediately fled quickly with Achio. Then he shouted loudly, "I'll drive the wind and snatch a few ghost beads from you. That's for your face." The 5 students immediately shouted angrily, "Right? Don't let me touch you again." Immediately, the system sounded a prompt. "Congratulations to the host for earning 100 points for breaking defense. Next stop is Linghu Park." Lin Mo once again missed 2 ghost beads that drowned ghosts. He didn't forget to speak towards the looted school. Xiao Yi Xing will not change his name. Don't change your surname. Linfeng Academy? Exorcism, 100 Flowers Mall. Achio easily won an evil spirit and a ghost bead. And Lin Mo said arrogantly on the side, "I drove it all dry. If you don't accept it, you will come to the Wind Academy to find me." The man snatched Lin Feng Academy's ghost hunting mission. Therefore, he formed a bond with Chu Feng, and the woody forest trees decisively stayed. A sentence is snowing. Feng Sun Mu welcomes you to challenge at any time. Then the 3 of them took the vampire, rushed straight to the next location to continue grabbing. And every time he's after the robbery, we'll leave a sentence that I am Chu Feng. If you're not satisfied, come to Lin Feng Academy to find me. For a while, I was in the Ghost Master Forum. Chu Feng has become a ghost bead thief that everyone shouts and beats. But Chu Feng thought that it was Sun's ghost. Put all the grievances on the head of the Sun family. And Lin Mo and the others had already come to the stone-burning ground at this time. This is the last stop on the Type 00 mission. The street facing the incinerator is a funeral street. However, there are no buildings around the incineration. The walls are inky throughout. It gives an extremely heavy feeling. Lin Mu looked around. Suddenly, I was a little surprised. Is the mission over? Why is it so quiet here? And yet at this moment, suddenly from the back of the crematorium, there was an extremely terrible scream. Lin Mu frowned when he heard this. Shouting to go. The mission assignment for the graveyard is not over yet. The 3 of them immediately made their way through the hall quickly. Head to the back. I saw a hand burning with flames, constantly waving. The 2 girls were so frightened that they screamed in fright. I saw that the man was scorched with flames, crawling out of the crematorium, at the same time wailing to save me. Save me the next moment. The man who had been roasted by the fire suddenly fell to the ground. He struggled for only 2.5 seconds before stopping. Looked at Zhao Jian lying in the crematorium. The 2 girls suddenly stepped back one after another. They can't help it. Now it's even a healing contract ghost. There is nothing that can be done. I could only watch Zhao Jian being burned alive. The long-haired girl suddenly gritted her teeth. Prepare to summon a contract ghost. At the same time, yelling the damn ghost. I'll fight with you. But he was bespectacled by another. The girl stopped to calm down. Judging by Zhao Jian's strength, there's definitely more than one burner in there. If you go in like this, you will be sent to death. That's when it happened. Lin Mo, who had just come to the crematorium, immediately asked, waiting, "What the hell is going on here?" The long-haired woman looked at the 3 of them in surprise. "I wonder who it is." Lin Mu didn't bother to explain. He casually said that we are here to support you. Let's talk about the situation. The glasses girl heard this. Immediately, he choked up and said according to the information, inside this crematorium is a burner. But Zhao Jin opened it and took a look. I don't know why I was sucked in. And then there's the scene just now. That's when it happened. An arm jerked out of the crematorium, then grabbed Zhao Jin's body. In the blink of an eye, Zhao Jin's body disappeared in front of everyone's eyes. He was quickly dragged into the crematorium by that arm. And Suzuki looked at this strange scene, couldn't help frowning, and analyzed. Is this a burnt ghost? The crematorium burned all the corpses. How can there be a burner? And Achio explained with a solemn face. Crematoriums burn people alive. There's not a burner. Suzuki was shocked when he heard this. How frustrating a living person must be. That's when it happened. Suzuki suddenly remembered that he was on the ferry alone. He remembered that Luo Chung had said that he was coming to the crematorium. Immediately, he asked the glasses girl, "Do you have a man named Luo Chung?" The glasses girl pointed to the crematorium at the back. He said he was in the crematorium. Lin Mo heard this. Couldn't help but be slightly stunned. With a somewhat ugly face, he asked, "Is he also dead?" That's when it happened. The crematorium at the back suddenly erupted a tongue of fire. One arm was accompanied by a familiar shout. Suddenly, it came out of it. I saw Luo Chung crawling from inside. The reason why he didn't get burned when he came out, it's because of him. Covered with a pale blue barrier. Negates the large amount of fire damage. Still, the scorching heat was hot, and he couldn't stand it. Behind him, it was followed by a ghost with flames burning all over its body. The man plundered all the way to the last spot, but he found it odd. The trainees who were on the mission were burned to death. Immediately, Lin Mo recalled Luo Chenglai. He was then asked if he was still alive, and the glasses woman told Lin Mo. Luo Chung was also dragged into the furnace. Just when Lin Mo thought that Luo Chung was cold, suddenly, a hand stretched out from the stove. I saw Luo Chung wrapped in a film of energy, crawl to get rid of the pursuit of the burners. Luo Chung climbed out of the crematorium, hurriedly extinguished the flames on his body. Then he kept shouting, "If there weren't for the life-saving thing, it is estimated that it will be burned to ashes." And Lin Mo and the others saw that he was fine. I couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Then Lin Mo suddenly gave a thumbs up, praised Luo Chung. "Looks like you're stronger than I thought. I can come out alive like this." Luo Chung saw that it was actually Lin Mo's great god. Hurley got up and wanted to say hello to Lin Mo. And Lin Mo kept waving goodbye with disgust on his face. "So close. You are burned to death by the smell of burning." Immediately afterwards, Lin Mo didn't waste time. Opened the blood pupil directly to check the situation inside the incinerator. Under the clear-seeing ability of the demon-level blood pupil, the entire crematorium seemed to be transparent inside and out. It's all under Lin Mo's eyes. I saw a burner with flames burning all over his body. He was sitting on the ground with a resentful face. And next to him was a female ghost huddled up. And he is also very afraid of the appearance of the burning ghost. See this scenario. Lin Mo's brows couldn't help but furrow slightly. Sure enough, there was more than one ghost in the crematorium. The female ghost looks like a greedy ghost. Luo Chung heard Lin Mo's analysis. Immediately shouted excitedly, "Yes, I was in the crematorium in the first place. See a lot of gold and silver treasures." Then he was stunned for a few seconds. "I haven't come to my senses yet. I was sucked in by the greedy ghost." That's when it happened. Two girls. Suddenly, his face was full of sadness. "We'll summon something that has already been killed by the burner. Tell Luo Chung." And Luo Chung heard this. Immediately, his face turned dark. His face was full of disbelief and wail. Followed by, Luo Chung turned to Lin Mo and asked the god of Dao Mo, "Please help us. Help us clean up those two ghosts. I'm willing to give you all my money, and we'll give you all the rewards for the task. You see, can you?" Lin Mo heard this. Immediately, my heart moved. Then he said to Mu Wanxing, senior sister, "I would like to take this commission. Look at the ghosts here are not strong." And Mu Wanxing simply turned around. The level of these two ghosts is very low. It's not even at the level of an evil spirit. You and Ah Chiu are enough to deal with it. And the glasses girl on the side, see Mu Wanxing, who is a 5-time ghost master. Not going to make a move. Immediately anxious sister. That's not going to work. The ghosts here are not ordinary. I'll leave it to the double ghosts like us. Definitely not. But Lin Mo didn't get angry when he heard this. Instead, he simply turned around towards the crematorium. As she walked, She smiled and said that she was not an evil spirit-level ghost girl. There is no threat to us. You're going to have to watch it. Immediately, Lin Mo and Achio came to the crematorium tacitly. Then Lin Mo tapped the stove with an impatient face. At the same time, he yelled, "Get out of here. Don't waste my time." The voice just came. The crematorium in front of the two of them. And he stretched out an iron plate. And on the iron plate, it was covered with gold and all kinds of precious stones. It looks golden, although Lin Mo had already been mentally prepared. But as a money fan, he was still blinded. He couldn't help but mutter these gold bars in his heart. If only it were all mine. It's a pity that it's just a ghost of greed. Meanwhile, the greedy ghost in the furnace suddenly poked its head out. Then he muttered silently for a second. At the time of the second, the greedy ghost had quietly crawled in front of Lin Mo. Began to grab his clothes. Just in the third second, the greedy ghost, when he was about to drag Lin Mo into the crematorium. The greedy ghost who was originally proud. The eyes widened suddenly. It was as if he was frightened by something terrible. I saw that Lin Mo was already staring at the bloodline. He looked at him with a smug face. At the same time, the skill counterattack was activated. A greedy ghost who was suddenly bounced away by a powerful thrust. Immediately panicked. He couldn't help but exclaim, "What did you do to me? How could I be pushed away?" But he wasn't done yet. Achio, who has been waiting for an opportunity for a long time. The razor in his hand flashed away. It was a second for him, looking at the greedy ghost who is separated from his body. The little quacks watching from the sidelines. I couldn't help shouting excitedly. The ink god is really too strong. It only took a moment to kill one. True invincibility is at this time. The burner who learns that his partner has been killed immediately rushed out of the furnace. And then, a scorching flame erupted towards Lin Mo. And yelling at "You bastard." The sister who dared to play in came to life. And the two who had been prepared immediately moved under their feet. Dodged to the sides. Dodged the oncoming beam of fire. Immediately after that, Lin Mo quickly tapped his arm. Then he snatched up the ghost sword. Said sharply, "I knew today earlier. Why bother in the first place? Since you're here to hurt people, just do it well. Preparation at the cost." As soon as the man saw the treasure that the greedy ghost had conjured up, I was immediately attracted to the eye. However, just as the greedy ghost was about to drag him into the crematorium, but he suddenly used the bleeding stabbing ghost's counter-devouring skill. Then let Achio kill him on the spot, and the burners hiding in the stove immediately pounced on it, attacked Lin Mo. And Lin Mo, after dodging the flame attack of the burning ghost, immediately picked up the ghost sword. Ready to pack it up, I saw Lin Mo's wrist flipped violently. At the same time as the ghost sword is sacrificed, suddenly used a sword to kill the soul. Suddenly, a fierce sword chi shot out. The burner saw this, immediately shocked, then quickly turned sideways and dodged the sword. And the crematorium behind him was immediately cut in half on the spot by a sword to kill the soul. Let the burner lose his way out. And the hopeless burner who retreated. He could only expose himself to Lin Mo's sight. Immediately after that, the burner suddenly screamed. The flames all over his body burst violently, driving the surrounding heat wave. Uses the skill cremate a flame. The next moment, a blazing flame, and it spewed out of the mouth of the burner, straight to Lin Mo. The crematorium flames are not only extremely hot, the coverage range is also up to more than 10 meters. Lin Mo's feet moved quickly. Kankin dodged the onslaught of flames. Lin Mo dodged after he did. Immediately shouted at Achio, "Take advantage of now. Achio, hurry up." As soon as the words fell, several black shadows suddenly swept up from the ground. Hold the burner firmly in prison. And the burner immediately began to panic. I saw a black ghost shot out of Akia's arm. In the blink of an eye, the ghost picked up the death scythe. aimed at the neck of the burner. Then there was a click. The ghost scythe hit the devil's neck with precision. Immediately burned the ghost to death. The separation was killed on the spot, and after the head of the burner turned a few times in the air, landing quickly, the flames that had just ignited in his ghostly body. It was also extinguished. That's when it happened. In the third crematorium, suddenly, an evil spirit-level burner crawled out. Then there was a terrible scream of the old man. Suddenly, the burner burst into terrifying flames. The demon-level ghost aura suddenly filled the audience. This burner thinks that he and the old man should be two people. Suddenly, he let out a furious shout. "How dare you? I want you to pay for your lives. You have to die for me." Look at the terrifying flames that swept in. Lin Mo immediately frowned, grabbed Luo Chungchung, and run out. At the same time shouted about the skill of the burner. Almost the charge is done. The house where the cremated corpse was evacuated was not spacious in the first place. If the flames spread, this is really their crematorium. Lin Mo and the others just jumped out of the crematorium on their front feet. A blaze rose into the sky, burned the whole house through, looking at the crematorium with flames billowing out. Several fiery snakes continued to erupt from doors and windows. Luo Chung couldn't help but feel palpitations. This ghost is crazy. The long-haired woman couldn't help but feel a little back. But it's a second late. We were also charred like Zhao Jian. Thanks to Lin Mo's reminder. Lin Montauk's quintet found the hair of a long-haired girl, scorched and rolled up by the heat. He couldn't help but quip, "Free perm." And the long-haired girl is not angry. You still have time for humor. And the glasses girl on the side. Suddenly, with an ugly face, he said, "The teacher has spoken." The burner is a ranged mage. There are only two ways to deal with him. Either by using the contract ghost with a longer attack range. Remote consumption. Either it's a close attack that breaks through his skill range. Luo Chung immediately gritted his teeth when he heard this. Say you're going to try remote consumption. He jerked out his arm. A demon was summoned. After the hell appeared. No need for Luo Chung to command. He quickly began to draw his bow and arrows. Aiming at the burner in the distance is a sword. Immediately, there was a boom. The burner, when he perceives the arrow, hurriedly jumped up and dodged. Straight air strikes the wall, and the glasses girl saw that the burner was going to run away. He was keen to grasp the opportunity. A swamp ghost was quickly summoned, and the swamp ghost quickly opened its mouth. He spat out a large mouthful of muss in the direction of the burner. Prepare to imprison it. The burners flying in midair had nowhere to hide. Immediately, he was hit by the mud spewed out by the swamp ghost. This lump of sludge is extremely sticky. The burner was trapped immediately after hitting the ground. Can't even stand up. Seeing this, Lin Mo immediately shouted excitedly, "Good opportunity." Shoot quickly, Luo Chingwenqing hurriedly signaled the ghost to attack. I saw the ghost take the arrow again. 3 arrows aimed at the burner. And the burner did not give up the struggle. Instead, he used his 2-skill fire escape. A shield of flame rising from the ground. All at once, a swordsman will rush in his face. Block out. The man, after cleaning up 2 ghosts in succession. He encountered evil spirits and burned ghosts. Seeing that the burner is about to finish charging his skills, Lin Mo immediately motioned for everyone to retreat with him. Face the burning ghost in hot pursuit. Luo Chung took the lead in summoning a sword ghost to consume it remotely. Glasses girls also followed. Summoned swamp ghosts to limit the burner's movements. Can face the siege of the 2. The burning ghost used the 2nd skill fire escape to dissolve it. Subsequently, the burner suddenly smiled with a smug smile on his face. Fire shield reduces physical damage by 90%. You killed my old man by sneak attack just now. Head to head. Not my opponent. But Lin Mo didn't panic at all when he heard this. His face calmly opened his bloody pupils. Then he smiled slowly, since he reduced his damage to physical damage. Then use real damage. Immediately afterwards, Lin Mo's right eye trembled violently. Suddenly, a marked blood curse appeared on the burner's body. The burner saw this, immediately frightened. It's a blood curse. You're a double ghost encounterer. Activated the blood pupil ghost's 3 skills. And Lin Mo heard it. I couldn't help but raise my eyebrows. Snapped his fingers. At the same time, he said proudly that this is just a basic operation. 10 seconds is a flash. Immediately, there was a loud bang. The body of the burner exploded directly on the spot. The smoke cleared. The burner had already been blown up to the ground and trembled on the spot. Divided by attributes. He belongs to the ranged mage, so the amount of blood is not much. This time it was almost bloody. However, just when everyone was praising Lin Mo's strength, there was a rush of footsteps. Suddenly, there came from behind the crowd. I saw another greedy ghost rush out of the crematorium. At the same time, he shouted, "Where did the yellow-haired child come from? Dare to come to my turf to stir up trouble." Hearing this, everyone immediately turned around and looked. After seeing that it was a greedy ghost, the faces of the crowd couldn't help but change. Exclaimed, there were still evil spirits. And Achio immediately pulled out the razor from behind him. At the same time, he opened his mouth to dow Lin Mo. "I'll leave this to me." However, just as Achio was about to face the greedy ghost, the burner used the last of his strength. A fireball erupted in the direction of Achio. However, the target of this fireball is not Achio. Instead, he passed straight past him. I saw the fireball, bombarded that one, and he will rush to the greedy demon before the people. A greedy ghost who was caught off guard. Immediately, there was a terrible wail. Then he fell to the ground, was directly killed on the spot. Look at the greedy ghost who fell to the ground. The 5 people present were stunned. For a while, they fell into a state of blindfolding. After a long half-ring, the long-haired woman suddenly said with a surprised face, "Aren't they ghost partners in the treacherous? How did you kill your own people before you died?" Lin Mo saw this. I also inadvertently asked for eyebrows. I couldn't help but be curious. Subsequently, he asked the dying burner, "Your fireball, is it for the greedy ghost?" And the burner, who has all the flames on his body, has been extinguished. But he said viciously, "Yes, I'm going to die. I can't let that rebel stay alive either." Suzuki heard this. I couldn't help frowning. Then he asked with a strange face, "Are you a family? What's going on? Let's hear it." And the burner suddenly laughed bitterly. He saw that he would die today. He was going to tell the grievances and anguish he had suffered. Those 2 greedy ghosts are my son and daughter-in-law. My wife and I were cheated out of all our savings. In order to snatch the only remaining house of our old couple, they tied us up to the incinerator, burned us alive. My wife and I have a grudge in our hearts. The Nanshan crematorium is ghostly and heavy, so he turned into a burner. Put this rebel that night, and his daughter-in-law cleaned up. We didn't expect that either. These 2 bastards are extremely greedy. Absorbed the ghost aura of the crematorium. Became a greedy ghost. Fortunately, the greedy ghost can't beat us. We beat them up and ordered them to help us seduce people. Lin Mo listened to it. I can't help but get goosebumps. Resolutely send the ghost sword. Then silently said, "It is really a family of father and son." Then Lin Mo did not hesitate at all. Directly stabbed the body of the burner with a sword. At the same time, he said, teasing, "I feel the same way about you. But you kill other people indiscriminately. That's what's wrong with you." And the long-haired girl on the side suddenly said long. No matter how kind you were in life, once transformed into a ghost, it will cause harmful thoughts. This is the inferior nature of ghosts. So either contract to suppress their evil thoughts, either kill them. And Lin Mo was after picking up the ghost beads that burned the ghost. Suddenly, he glanced at the 3 of them meaningfully. "I don't think there are as many as you think. I kill them, I just want ghost spiders. Luo Chunwen's words understood in an instant. Then hold your entire net worth in your hands. At the same time, he said yes. Said okay, to help my brother avenge it. Kill the burners. The ghost spiders are all for you. The man, after listening to the story of the burnt ghost, although feeling sympathy, but he still resolutely cleaned it up. And the long-haired girl suddenly said for a long time, once she turned into a ghost, it will cause harmful thoughts. So either contract to suppress their evil thoughts, either kill them. And Lin Mo was after picking up the ghost beads that burned the ghost. Suddenly meaningful. I'm only interested in ghost beads. Luo Chunwen's words understood in an instant. Hurriedly took out all the ghost beads on his body. It was given to Lin Mo as a reward. And Lin Mo was not polite. Accept them all. Meantime, still grinning with satisfaction, then I'm welcome. But Mu Wanqing yawned and said to his junior brother, pack up the evil spirits. It's even possible to make such a big move. Lin Mo Tetu hurriedly turned around. Towards Mu Wanqing, he opened his mouth and asked senior sister, didn't you sleep? And Mu Wanqing couldn't help complaining angrily. Woken up by the two of you. Find a hotel now. I'm going to sleep. Lin Mo put away the ghost beads. Suddenly asked senior sister Dao in a low voice. Let's go to the northern suburbs of Lingling Temple first. If the swimming pool is that obsessive ghost. If the information is correct. Ghost tide transit. The 5,000 people of the Demon Kingdom over there will definitely die. I want to evacuate the seal fishermen over there. After speaking, Lin Mu couldn't help but clench his fists. Mu Wanqing didn't speak. Instead, he gave a look of approval. Then Mu Wanqing nodded decisively and said, it's okay. Listen to your follow-up. 3 people sat up again and sucked. The blood ghost flew to the northern outskirts of Lingling City. Soon, Lin Mu 3 people arrived at the northernmost sunny slope on the outskirts of the city. And the large and small shacks below the sunny slope are in tatters. If the wind blows, at least half of the shacks here had to be toppled. And the road between the shacks and the shacks was muddy. Just walked in. Lin Mo and Ah Chio's trouser legs were already covered with mud. He couldn't help but feel sympathy. Do the mad demon people live in this kind of place? And yet at this moment, a little girl is dressed in patches, running around and playing, and the little girl ran out from behind a shack, but just bumped into Lin Mo. The little girl was about 6 or 7 years old. There are a lot of mud stains on Handsome's face. However, a pair of eyes are unusually clear and clean. She wasn't afraid. Instead, he asked curiously who it was. And Suzuki simply made up that we are tourists. The little girl heard this, immediately shook his head, with a face full of disbelief that you are lying. Except for the clansmen and fierce soldiers. No one wants to come. That's when it happened. Suzuki suddenly noticed that the little girl was barefoot. I couldn't help but sigh, why don't you wear shoes? The little girl immediately appeared in front of Lin Mo. The accusation is not because of you Zhou people. Kick us out of our hometown. We madmen are all enslaved. It's impossible to wear something like you have with new shoes to wear. Look at the girl's tattered clothes. And dirty cheeks. It made Lin Mo feel a little heartache. Then Lin Mo smiled. Touched the little girl's face. Not necessarily. Someday, you'll be dressed like I do. When Yen girl's eyes lit up instantly. There was a hint of longing and anticipation. Muttered, really? That's when it happened. An older boy suddenly rushed in front of the girl. He looked at Lin Mo vigilantly. Shouted, sister. Don't believe him. There are many people in the Zhou kingdom. He must have come here with a plan. Lin Mo saw this. I can't help but give a thumbs up. Nodding appreciatively, he protected his sister. It's quite bloody. Then Lin Mo looked around. I asked the female parents with some curiosity. How not to see them? The boy immediately shouted angrily at Lin Mo. Asked while knowing the answer. They were all concentrated on the side of the city walls. Build fortifications for you Zhou people as laborers. Then Lin Mo followed the two through the shantytown, walked some distance further up the sunny slope. From afar, you can see a group of people working. Some of them were clanging with hammers and chisels. Some carry the gravel with a flat pole. The place with the most people. It's about 24 people using a fixed pulley. Throw a boulder against the wall. There were also a few soldiers scattered around. The rattan in the overseer's hand. From time to time, the whip is whipped on the laborer. That's when it happened. Mobilize the team of boulders. There was an old man who was exhausted and excessive. Suddenly, I felt a wave of vertigo. Suddenly, the old man fell to the ground in a dream. And that rope was too worn. It broke straight apart. The team that already struggled to drop the boulder. Because there is one less. The strength was suddenly insufficient. The boulder that was hoisted in midair immediately began to fall rapidly. The man came to the base of the mad fisherman, only to find out the lives of the people here are worse than they imagined. The rattan in the overseer's hand. From time to time, it is whipped on the laborers. Suddenly, an old man was exhausted. I felt a wave of relief from vertigo. Immediately, the old man fell to the ground violently, and the boulder that was hoisted in midair immediately began to fall rapidly. That's when it happened. A figure sped at a speed. Behind him were 5 contract ghosts. Just at the moment when the boulder was about to fall, the 5 contract ghosts suddenly pressed on the boulder in unison. The next moment, 5 contract ghosts work at the same time. The boulder was immediately pushed away. This did not fall to the laborers. This made the thousands of workers present breathe a sigh of relief at the same time. And the old man who had fainted. At this time, he also woke up, and Lin Mo stood on the boulder with 5 ghosts. Said the old man, "Are you okay?" Seeing that the old man wanted not to speak, he wanted to stop talking. Lin Mo couldn't help but be a little surprised. I guess I shouldn't be scared stupid. But the old man came back to his senses. Looked at Lin Mo's figure. In a trance, Prince Ida was in a trance. Hearing the eyes of many laborers. Immediately gathered on Lin Mo's figure. And this silhouette and face. How familiar they were. Immediately, I remembered a burst of exclamations. It's really the Crown Prince. Prince, you're not dead. The prince has come to save our mad people. That's when it happened. The overseer's soldiers saw that the situation was about to get out of control. He immediately picked up his gun and shouted. What to shout? Isn't Prince Ida dead? I think this group of Jiamin wants to rebel. Suddenly forget them. The captain of the overseers squinted. Carefully looked at Lin Mo's colleague. I heard it in the bureau a long time ago. Marina City has a god that resembles a wind demon. A student of Prince Wingdeku. It should be him. Don't rush to make a move yet. Behind that student is Duan Shinkuan. After speaking, he suddenly sneered with a sinister face. If there is a riot, didn't it just give us the opportunity to shoot? And the labor force is boiling over. Suddenly he fell to his knees. Immediately afterwards, Lin Mo looked confused. Wind Demon Yunming knelt neatly and shouted, "Meet Prince Yidiak." And Lin Mo saw such a big battle. I was a little stunned. He didn't know. Why do those people call themselves artistic virtues? Could it be because I look like him? That's when it happened. The overseers on the high platform also saw the movement. Immediately, he aimed the gun in his hand at Lin Mo. And Lin Mo looked up. I immediately understood my situation. He couldn't help but think about it secretly. Let the mad people kneel down again. I'm afraid I'm going to be arrested by the security service. Come to think of it, Lin Mo just jumped from the boulder. Come to the fisherman. Then Lin Mo hurriedly stretched out his hand and pointed at his face. He said that he was not a prince. You have recognized the wrong person. Your prince was in his 30s when he died. I'm only 18, and everyone saw Lin Mo's appearance clearly. The look in their eyes that they had hoped for lost their luster again. It's like the last candle of the eternal night is extinguished. And the old man patted his head in annoyance. Lonely shook his head and said yes. The crown prince has been dead for more than 10 years. I am confused. It seems that no one can save us. However, just as everyone was about to get up and leave to continue their work, Lin Mo hurriedly came to the old man. Whispered old man, 10 o'clock the day after tomorrow. The haunt's nest is passing by this way. While there's still time, evacuate quickly. The old man heard this. I couldn't help but sigh, looking at the soldiers on the lookout. Exit the opening. Where to retreat? If only a ghost dynasty is coming. They won't let us leave. We are the meat shield of the Zhou people. Lin Mo heard this, instantly froze in place. He immediately understood. I want to evacuate the wind demons from the people. Obviously unrealistic. Seeing that Lin Mo did not speak, the old man took him by the hand. Speak again, young man. Thank you for your kindness. You look a lot like the last prince of our country, and the heart is as good as he is. Immediately, he hurriedly urged, you should go quickly. Don't let us drag you down. And Lin Mo responded with a firm face. I will not leave you here to die. And yet at this moment, a whip suddenly pumped on the old man's thin, rickety back. An overseer was seen holding a whip. Angry shouted Inkwa, don't hurry up and work for labor. Lin Mo saw this, immediately frowned. Then he decisively reached out his hand. A handful grabbed the whip in the overseer's hand. Immediately, Lin Mo stopped in front of the old man and shouted, stop. And the overseer immediately snorted coldly. What do you want to do? I love construction. Are you going to rebel? And Lin Mo immediately exerted his strength. Just shake off the whip. Then he said no. I have something important to inform. After coming to the center of the crowd, Lin Mo immediately tore his throat. He shouted, the night after tomorrow, a ghost pilgrimage will pass by. I saw that everyone had stopped what they were doing. After looking at yourself, Lin Mo shouted again that he would not withdraw from the northern suburbs. Everyone has to die. The man had just arrived at the place where the mad fishermen were enslaved. Rescued an old man who had an accident. Didn't expect a group of crazy demon fishermen to see Lin Mo. They knelt down in unison, in order not to allow the security service to find an opportunity. Lin Mo hurriedly said that he was not the prince of medical virtue, and also came to the center of the crowd, tearing out his throat and shouting the night after tomorrow. There will be haunted nests passing by here. No more withdrawal from the northern suburbs. Everyone has to die. Over here. Wen Yin, the captain of the overseer, immediately shouted. Say there's a haunt's nest. Jokes, we military didn't even get notice. Where did you get the gossip again? Lin Mo immediately replied sharply, and Ning believed it. Not credible. If only there were no haunted nests. You can't just come back. The captain of the overseer saw Lin Mo so arrogant. Immediately shouted angrily. Who is the delay in the construction period? Besides, now the major ghost domains. It has been surrounded by the military. There won't be any haunt nests at all. If you are alarmist, I will take you for the sin of delaying the construction of the palace. As soon as the words fell, a dozen soldiers immediately raised their guns, eyeing the end of the forest. And yet at this moment, Yampa Palace Room, there was a faint roar in the far distance. Even the ground trembled, and the voice was getting closer. Chio, who jumped on the city wall. Suddenly, he said anxiously towards Lin Mo. Oh no, the haunt's nest is here in advance. I saw tens of thousands of ghosts rushing in the distance. Weapons kicked up dust and sand in the sky, approaching as fast as a sandstorm. It gives a strong sense of oppression, although the direction of the ghosts galloping is not Lingling City, but tens of thousands of ghost nests transited. The northern suburbs of Lingling City will definitely be affected. The hungry-eyed ghosts saw the inhabitants of the northern suburbs. It's going to be crazy to kill. The captain of the overseers saw this, suddenly exclaimed with an ugly face. There really is such a big haunted nest. The offensive can't be stopped. Immediately, the captain of the overseer took the lead and ran down the lookout. Then anxiously urged the Dao brothers. Just evacuate to the urban area of Lingling City. And Lin Mo saw that they had no time to take care of the laborers. He immediately shouted out to the workers. Don't it, the haunt's nest is coming. Run, the voice just fell. Suddenly, there was a sound of breaking the air. The whip in the overseer's hand swung towards the laborers who were about to escape. I saw the captain of the overseer. With an impatient face, he pushed the laborer who was in front of him away. At the same time, he was angry with Dao Jiamin. Don't get out of the way yet. You are worthy only to be meat shields. Time? The workers fled in panic. Lin Mo looked at the workers who were panicking. Hurriedly shouted goodbye stunned. Go back to the shanty town and pick up all the children. After speaking, Lin Mo suddenly asked Achio, how about your side? And Achio said in a solemn voice, face the ghost dynasty. It is estimated that it can only be used for a maximum of 2.5 minutes. Literary language, Lin Mo hurriedly summoned all his contract ghosts. Then chanted, if you can hold it for a while, you can hold it for a while. Ben gave them a chance to stay alive. The next moment, the army of hives began to bombard. Hit the fortifications. A few emaciated, starving ghosts were crawling up quickly. And Lin Mo took 5 ghosts. Commanded, don't let a ghost go. It is necessary to keep Lin Mo and Achio's contract ghost. Desperately waving the weapon in his hand on the city wall. Clean up the ghosts that climb up one by one. But the oppression of tens of thousands of ghosts. The two of them were almost out of breath. Seeing that group of starving ghosts couldn't attack for a long time, an evil spirit-level giant level violently walked out of the haunted lair. At the same time, there was a loud roar, followed by the giant slammed into the ground and began to pound violently. Directly put the offensive of the city walls. I slammed a hole in. Feel the violent shaking of the city walls. Achio hurriedly shouted at Lin Mo. This offensive is going to be scrapped completely. And Lin Mo Wenyan immediately turned around decisively and said, let's retreat. As soon as the words fell, rumbling began to rumble under the walls. The demon-leveled giant officer frantically pounded the city wall, an attempt to open a gap for the haunted hive army. And within the city walls, a mad refugee of old and young women and children. The retreat was not fast. Immediately, by this burst of roar, I was so frightened that I froze in place. And in the opening of the gap too, the army of the hive slowly poured in, looking at the group of living humans in front of him. Immediately, they had a look of hunger and thirst. The next moment, the majestic devil May Cry suddenly swept out. The ghost nest is about to surround the demon fisherman. Suddenly, the fisherman burst into cries of fear. The walls were broken. Flee! Tens of thousands of ghost nest armies are rushing. Weapons kicked up dust and sand in the sky, approaching as fast as a sandstorm. And Suzuki, in order to buy time for the mad fisherman to escape, he summoned a contract ghost and prepared to carry it. I didn't expect it. The demon-level giant jar was only a few hits, and he made a hole in the wall, and the hungry-eyed demons saw the inhabitants of the northern suburbs. Immediately, it was like going crazy. Suddenly, a majestic ghost aura swept out. The haunt's nest is about to surround the mad fisherman. Suzuki sighed. See the old and the mad refugees with women and children. The retreat was not fast. He immediately stopped. Then he hurriedly waved his hand to the old man. Hurry up, and the haunted nest is already behind us. And the old man answered the young man breathlessly. We have bad legs. I can't really run. Run on your own. Leave us alone. The other old men also spoke to persuade them. We're also coffins. You can save our mad young man from escaping. We're already grateful to you. Lin Mo saw this. Immediately his brows tightened, and then secretly decided in my mind, we can't let the mad people die here. Immediately, he picked up the ghost sword, walked in the direction of the Oni group. At the same time, he instructed Achio without looking back. You protect the old man and withdraw first. I'll be there then. Achio heard this. Suddenly his face sank. He didn't even think about it, and immediately shook his head and refused to say goodbye. To walk together. And Lin Mo immediately stopped. You believe me. Xianche Akiu saw Lin Mo's resolute look. Immediately there was silence, and Lin Mo was alone. With the ghost sword, he faced the army of the ghost nest. At the same time, he said goodbye and hesitated. Hurry up, and Achio heard this. Immediately gritted his teeth. Then turn around and wave. Led the group of old people in the direction of the city. Followed by Lin Mo summoned the ghouls. Then he broke off and screamed to control the corpse. As soon as the words fell, the ghouls immediately left the more than 700 zombies. All summoned, begin to fend off the attacks of the haunted lair. Although only ghost-level zombies are of great use, but there are enough of them. It is best to use it to procrastinate. I saw the zombie hordes constantly pounced. The army of the hive suddenly stopped. Begin commanding the warrior ghost to fend off the zombies. After a long half ring, a giant hammer suddenly roared out of the army of ghost nests. I saw a huge ghost, just a hammer, killed more than 10 zombies on the spot. He yelled with exasperation on his face, "Don't stop me." As soon as the words fell, suddenly, Lin Mo's voice came out to me. Suddenly, the ghost looked towards Lin Mo with a shocked face. I saw that Lin Mo had already killed the red eye at this time. He picked up the ghost sword alone. He attacked the hammer ghost. Before the hammer ghost could react, Lin Mo raised his sword and fell. One move, and one sword will kill the soul directly. Meanwhile, on the walls of Lingling Temple in the northern suburbs, anxious urgings were constantly heard. Hurry up and close the gates. Open the defensive circle. And the senior teacher Wansheng hurriedly blocked the door and couldn't close the door. There was a group of people coming in the distance, and Gao Longchen suddenly said with disdain, "Those are the untouchables of the mad demons. Dead is dead. They are not worth the risk." Gao Shishir heard this. I couldn't help but hesitate. But he still couldn't bear to say that they were human beings. And Gao Longchen directly took Gao Shishir's hand. Turn around and leave the road and go quickly. These untouchables can be saved now. After that, it was still impossible to escape death. And at this time, Achio finally took some of the mad refugees with him, rushed to the city. But Gao Longchen had no intention of opening the door. Achio saw this. Hurriedly shouted at Gao Longchen, "Hurry! Open the city gate," but Gao Longchen was in full view. The cold refusal can't be opened, in case the haunt invades the city. It's a catastrophe. As soon as this remark came out, a group of students and residents behind him, I can't help but talk about it. If you don't let in, isn't there only one death for the madman? It can be saved. There's a lot more below. Multiple children. Achio knew that Lin Mo's side would definitely not last long. He suddenly shouted anxiously, "All you need to do is open a crack in the gates. There are formations in the city, and 100 or 200 guard soldiers. Definitely stop the haunt from coming in." But Gao Longchen was still indifferent. The slightly cold tone of the answer is not good. It just doesn't work. After speaking, Gao Longchen suddenly aimed at Lin Mo, who was fighting in the distance. Said coldly perhaps, "You can also be whimsical." Felt that Lin Mo could destroy the ghost nest. Lin Mo is the big man behind him. I will definitely make a move this time. Then, mobilizing troops to encircle and suppress them. None of them can escape. The man faces an army of ghost nests in the tens of thousands. But he plans to break off the queen alone. And Akiu took the demon Yumin with him. I finally came to the city gate. But Gao Longchen was in full view. directly refused to open the door to Akio. Akio knew that Lin Mo was under the attack of the Ghost Nest army. It certainly won't last long. Immediately pleaded anxiously. But Gao Longshan aimed at Lin Mo, who was fighting in the distance. Lin Mo said coldly, "The big shot behind him. I will definitely make a move this time." Then, mobilizing troops to encircle and suppress them, none of them can escape. Achio heard this, suddenly trembling with anger. This is clearly trying to kill people with a knife. To say before, he was more angry with the security service. And at this time, hatred completely sprouted. He couldn't help but curse in his heart. What a damn thing. Then he hurriedly turned around and leaned in the direction of Lin Mo. A colleague shouted Lin Mo, "You gotta hold on." Meanwhile, the raging haunted nest is like a flood. In Lin Mo's figure, it is as thin as a leaf in a flood. He constantly wields the ghost sword, harvesting the ghosts that are close to him. One skill after another blasted out. Fight off waves of attacks. And the chainsaw ghost who is slaughtering on a large scale. Suddenly, there was a throw under his feet. A sticky mass. Suddenly, a great amount of silt surged up beneath his feet. Suddenly, a swamp ghost emerged from the ground, and the silt he unleashed instantly trapped the chainsaw ghost. The big-breasted woman who was waiting for the opportunity to move on the side saw this. Immediately began to play the guzheng in his hand. Suddenly, he shot at the mud with a Sanskrit sound. The swamp ghost who was maintaining his skills at the next moment. Immediately, I was given by the Sanskrit sound. Momentarily froze in place. And the chainsaw ghost is in the moment of getting out of trouble. Immediately picked up the chainsaw, slashed down at the swamp ghost. A swamp ghost under control. Was instantly killed on the spot by this saw. At this time, more and more high-level ghosts rushed up. A cursed ghost suddenly flew towards the ghost flower. A hand slapped fiercely on his god. Also cast the curse skill. See this scenario. Ghost whooshing was suddenly relieved. And the ghost flower who was recruited. In an instant, he entered a state of weakness. Only half of the HP remains. But the situation of the ghost martial arts is not much better. Seeing that he wanted to help Ghost Hwadan. 6 evil spirits and ghouls immediately flew out from the side. Caught off guard, the ghost martial arts. Immediately entangled by this group of ghouls. The ghost body is constantly being bitten by ghouls. Caught in a difficult situation. And the cursed ghost. If you see the ghost, Wuxing will definitely not be able to get out for a while. He couldn't help but smile smugly. The next moment, the cursed ghost suddenly jumped to his feet. While activating the curse skill. Lift your foot sharply. Kick at the ghostly bullet that is no longer able to dodge. And yet at this critical moment, a sharp sword burst through the air. Directly kill the cursed ghost on the spot. A ghost bullet that is a support ghost. And there is not much combat ability. Fortunately, Lin Mo made a timely move. The sword that he used to kill the soul successfully saved him. After Ghost Hwadan came back to his senses. Hurriedly cast a grateful glance towards Lin Mo. Lin Mo turned back lightly. Wait for all the people to enter the city. Immediately retreat. As soon as the words fell, the 5 contract ghosts immediately stood up to take the test. Although they are stressed, Lin Mo's heroic appearance. It also gave them a lot of confidence. Meanwhile, in the crowd of the city walls, a sweetheart on the air suddenly recognized Lin Mo in surprise. Look everyone, it's the women's guy in the pool before. The little brother is trying to save the mad refugees. A man is fighting against a haunt's nest. There is no intention of retreating. Live stream the haunted lair transit. And it's a one-man block. The popularity of the live broadcast room exploded instantly. Sweetheart couldn't help but secretly rejoice. The number of fans has exceeded millions. It's also too profitable. Netizens in the live broadcast room, looking at Lin Mo's bloody figure, immediately began to swipe the screen frantically. It's on fire. One person blocks so many ghosts. He's the ghost. Anyway, why didn't the security bureau open the door? Everyone dares to be alone. Face the haunted nest. What would they not dare? Watching Lin Mo alone resist as many ghosts as locusts. The heroic appearance of killing and killing. Netizens suddenly boiled. It is said that they have encountered ghosts. The security service is running faster than I am. If you really want to cheat, you have to look at the school and the military. I hope the little brother can withstand it. Slap the security service in the face. There are also some netizens who are more pessimistic. Don't think about it. Under such a raging haunt's nest, it definitely won't last 10 minutes. After the transfer is over, we are going to see the tragedy in the world. It's a pity. Since then, the world has lost another heroic brother. Meanwhile, Gao Shishir didn't say a word at this time. Eyes drooping slightly, has been looking at Lin Mo in the ghost nest from afar. The raging haunted nest is like a flood, and Lin Mo's figure, it is as thin as a leaf in a flood. The spirit of thousands of people touched him again. He is not only a scoundrel villain in his heart, but now it's for a group of refugees. What a heroic, desperate fight. And Achio made a quick decision. Let all the mad refugees huddle under the walls. Then he rushed to Lin Mo's side desperately. Then Achio panted anxiously and said, Lin Mo. Gao Rongchen did not open the city gate. What to do now? Hearing this, Lin Mo instantly frowned. Say something to Achio. The bastard was immediate. Lin Mo slammed the ghost's sword into the ground, then quickly calmed down. The next moment, Lin Mo slowly exhaled a turbid breath, gritted his teeth. There's no way out now. I can only stay here. Men have no power to be ghosted. Actually had to carry it to the end with the army of ghost nests. Lin Mo's spirit of tens of millions of people. Gao Shishir was immediately touched. And Achio let the demon refugees shrink under the city wall. Immediately rushed to Lin Mo's side desperately. Lin Mo learned that Gao Longshan refused to open the door. Immediately, he firmly said that there was no way out now. I can only stay here. After speaking, Lin Mo just looked up. The ghost made the group of zombies gather in a circle. Protect all the mad fishermen in it. And Lin Mo and Achio were at the front. Resist the surging army of haunts. Immediately after that, the angry Lin Mo suddenly turned his head. Said coldly to Gao Longshan, as for your account. And in the future, you will be asked to repay it 100-fold. And Gao Longshan's threat to Lin Mo. But he didn't take it to heart at all. He still looked at Lin Mo and the others indifferently. Then Gao Longshan headed towards Lin Mo, let out a disdainful sneer, then quietly waited for the big man behind Lin Mo to make a move. And Lin Mo suddenly let out an angry roar in them. Immediately, he took the chainsaw ghost and other contract ghosts, carrying a ghost sword. Together, they rushed to the haunted nest. Achio picked up the razor and followed behind Lin Mo. Prepare to carry it to the end together. Compared to the coldness of the Zhou people and soldiers, Lin Mo is like the sun in the cold snow. The middle-aged man was suddenly moved and said, Look, this little brother kills ghosts and protects our backs. It's exactly the same as when the prince was alive. An old man couldn't help but say yes. When I saw him, I really thought the prince had come back to life. A stranger. We can do this for our madmen. So impressed. A girl suddenly tugged at the old man's sleeve. Advice to Grandpa Dao. We sing the mad anthem. Cheer on your little brother. The proposal was immediately well received, led by the girl's clear voice. The group of madmen suddenly shouted in a fit of rage. Wake up, madman, from a deathly slumber, from the brutal and brutal persecution. Right now, build a new destiny. This sonorous song is full of passion. It almost drowned out the roar of wild ghosts in the distance. And Suzuki, who heard the national anthem, was also inexplicably excited. This song is really exciting. I saw it under the rendering of the singing. The ghost sword in Lin Mo's hand swung extremely fast. 3 or 4 invisible ghosts sneaking up behind them. Directly smashed, the ghost body was smashed. And the singing continues. In the face of this fate, even the most brutal enemies will succumb. Right now, let's prove it to the world. We still have the blood of the demon sealers in our veins. And Gao Longchen saw this. I can't help but gnash my teeth. In his heart, he secretly said that if it was a contract to seal the demon jamming, the ghost was not abolished. It is definitely a great threat to our Zhou country. After a long half-ring, Achio was not far away. Suddenly, a mighty haunted nest poured out. It looks noticeably more ferocious than before. Even the average grade is 1 level higher. Achio saw this. I can't help but feel the pressure increase sharply. He hurriedly reminded Lin Mo that it was not good. The main force of the hive has reached the bottom wave. There are thousands of evil spirits in the haunted lair. The large number of high-level fear spirits just now could barely cope with it. But in the face of the tide of evil, the danger factor of Reina will be greatly increased. Ling Mu knew that it was in the haunt's lair. There must be quite a few high-level evil spirits. There are even a few evil spirits. He quickly pulled his phone out of his pocket. The opening seems to be shaking. Suzuki's broadcast phone was quickly connected. He hurriedly, anxiously said, "Senior sister, come and save me. I'm dying." And on the other end of the phone, Mu Wanqing is not only not slow. I'm having a supper. After eating, go over. Lin Mo hurriedly shouted, "You gobble it up. I'm going to have my body collected a little later." After hanging up, Lin Mo found he has been a giant jar of 3 high-level evil spirits. I was surrounded. And inside the restaurant, Mu Wanqing also opened Sweetheart's live broadcast room, looked at Lin Mo, who was fighting hard in the ghost nest. Then he laughed unhurriedly while eating. Such good conditions for actual combat training. Where to find it? Meanwhile, a column of wet water, like a high-pressure water gun, squirting from the mouth of the giant's coffin, shoots straight at Lin Mo. And Lin Mo hurriedly jumped up to dodge at the first time, seeing that he had been trapped in the middle of the giant coffin. Immediately, Lin Mo shouted, and a chainsaw ghost came. As soon as the words fell, chainsaw slammed into the giant jar. Cut hard with a chainsaw. All the ghosts that stand in the way of themselves in front of them. After approaching the giant's coffin, the chainsaw jumped to his feet, raised the chainsaw high, prepared to give the giant's coffin a sneak attack from behind. Chainsaw Ghost's 3 skills are violently dismembered, directly shattered a large amount of the giant's armor. The towering giant coffin was directly split and burst open. After the Chainsaw Ghost pulls out the chainsaw, suddenly there was a lot of fishy, dirty water. It erupted from the giant's jar. One move directly kills it on the spot. Immediately after that, the giant's coffin began to explode violently. Seeing this, the quick-witted chainsaw quickly jumped up and dodged. And Lin Mo looked at the stinky water rushing to his face. I couldn't help but exclaim. Just as Lin Mo was hiding, boiling, stinky water attacked. Before he could gain a foothold, the demo man threw several explosives at him. The man was besieged by thousands of evil spirits. In order to be able to leave alive, he decisively chose to shake people. Kimu Wanqing after answering the phone, but he unhurriedly said that he would help after eating supper. But the main force of the hive surrounded it all at once, with the strong support of the Chainsaw Ghost, successfully killed the giant's coffin. But before Lin Mo could gain a firm foothold, a demo man waiting for an opportunity, he suddenly made several explosives at him. Looking at the explosives coming at you, Lin Mo hurriedly dodged the explosives attack on one side. Then there was a burst of explosions. The giant's coffin was directly shattered, and Lin Mo had to dodge quickly. Otherwise, it is estimated that it will not be guaranteed. That's when it happened. Achio was suddenly blown out. The body rubs against the ground. There was a wail of pain. Achio was already scarred at this time. His face was so ugly that Lin Mo couldn't stand it. Lin Mo saw this. Hurriedly helped Achio up. I'm sorry, brother. I'm going to bother you. Meanwhile, the army of hives has lost its way. Quickly surrounded the two. Lin Mo saw this. Suddenly his face sank. It's not good in my heart. I'm running out of energy. Do we have to explain here today? Seeing that Lin Mo and the two of them have become the end of the crossbow. Death was only a few minutes away. Gao Shishir suddenly muttered to herself, no, I can't watch Lin Mo and them die. As he spoke, his fingers were already unconscious. The point of preparation is to the left arm. But at this moment, suddenly, there was a snapping sound. Gao Longchen saw this. Immediately grabbed Gao Shishir's wrist decisively. Interrupted his call. Immediately, Gao Shishir came back to her senses. He looked at Gao Longchen with a complicated face. And Gao Longchen. Then he said sharply with a serious face, what are you doing? He concealed the demon Jianming like this. Suffice it to say that he is a remnant of the madness. Gao Shishir heard this. I couldn't help frowning. Then he said with excitement on his face, but even if he is a remnant of the madness, then he's saving people. Gao Longchen immediately lowered his voice with annoyance on his face. With a hint of resentment, he said that it was a madman. Not from Zhou. Now you save them. In case they rebel tomorrow. Kill our people. He is the sinner of the Zhou kingdom. Gao Shishir heard this. I was a little confused. He knew that what Gao Longchen said was right. If he is on the side of the people of Zhou, it shouldn't have gone down. However, just when Gao Shishir was at a loss. One wears a scar on his head. The man in the blue sweatshirt suddenly passed through the crowd. At the same time, it is necessary to hesitate to save people. The joke followed. The man is in full view. Take a leap. Jumped off the wall. At the same time, pull out the razor around your waist. Said coldly, your security bureau will not help. I came to save the students on the city wall. Suddenly dumbfounded. This guy is crazy. If you go down, you'll die. Isn't he just a shaver? How dare you? The next moment, the man fell to the ground, and the ghost nest surrounding Lin Mo and the others. I immediately found out about this uninvited guest. Immediately afterwards, the man rushed towards the ghost nest with a knife in one hand. At the same time, a black shadow expanded rapidly. It's the size of a football field. Then the man waved one arm. A razor in your hand. A crescent-shaped masculinity erupted. Hundreds of ghosts were all knocked out in an instant. At the same time, there are also a large number of ghosts' severed arms and severed heads. It was a tragedy. After opening a road, the man's feet moved. Quickly came to the two of them. Immediately afterwards, the man slammed the razor in his hand. Hit the ground hard. Suddenly, a huge shadow was centered on this. Began to diffuse a majestic ghostly aura. I saw that the shadows instantly turned into sword shadows. A storm swept towards the haunt's lair. Suddenly, the sound of the ghost being chopped up rang out incessantly. One move 1,000 ghosts directly slashes back the group of ghosts. Suzuki looked at the man's strong combat power. I couldn't help but be surprised. The mouth is wide open. It's so strong in my heart. And after Achio saw the man's face clearly, immediately the joy blossomed. That's when it happened. The man suddenly turned his head, smiled loudly at Achio. Little Achio, the skill is fading. Suzuki saw that the two seemed to know each other. Hurriedly asked Achio about Achio. This is Achio's words. Immediately proudly said, this is my third uncle. A well-known quick knife hand among the shavers. It only takes 10 seconds to shave your head. As a five-fold ghost master, I'll lie. After another knife turned out to be a light ghoul. He smiled heartily and said hee. At its peak, 7 seconds ahead, Lin Mo, who was rescued, immediately hugged his fist and said Uncle Alai. Thank you. Alai seemed very casual and said a little meaning. It's just that the road is uneven. Then Alai rushed directly towards the haunt's nest. The The colleague shouted that the evil spirit was on the way. "I'll take care of it. I'll leave the rest to you." Looking at the figure of a lie rushing into the haunt's nest alone, Lin Mo couldn't help but say, "Ah Chio, why is your third uncle so fierce?" And Ah Chio said proudly again, "Of course. His razor makes it amazing. Man, it's about to be swallowed up by the army of haunts in front of you." But Ah Chio's third uncle suddenly appeared. "Raise your hand and kill hundreds of ghost girls." And he also bravely rushed into the army of the haunted nest. Go deal with the ghost-level ghost girl. Looking at the figure of a lie rushing into the haunt's nest alone, Lin Mo couldn't help but say, "Ah Chio, why is your third uncle so fierce?" And Ah Chio said with pride on his face, "Of course. His razor makes it amazing." Suzuki looked at a lie's figure. "I couldn't help but praise the shaver for being too good at forking him. I can't help but secretly say in my heart that not only is it good, and it's very righteous, it's so rare in today's society." And Suzuki was not idle. Continued to deal with the other hives that pounce. He slammed his sword, and he cut off the scarlet tongue. Can be a second, those two tongues. It quickly wrapped itself around Lin Mo's ghost sword. Keep it firmly under control. In the blink of an eye, the forest was entangled in death. Seeing this, he couldn't help but secretly say bad in his heart. Reiki is depleted, plus a long period of high-level fighting. Even the basic power of the ghost sword can't be exerted. And the two hanged ghosts saw that they took Lin Mo so easily. I couldn't help but let out a smug laugh. Lin Mo's situation at this time became difficult again. The hanged ghost kept tightening Lin Mo's neck, and Lin Mo was already in a hurry, but he didn't have the strength to break free. I can only grit my teeth and hold on, seeing that Lin Mo was about to suffocate. Several ghost swords suddenly shot down from the city wall, hit those two directly in the back. The hanged ghost who sneaked up on Lin Mo, after the feeling of oppression disappears, Lin Mo couldn't help but cough lightly. Then he hurriedly looked up, suppressed enough that someone would help. It was Luo Chung who just made a move.